This is The Gorge, the podcast where my friends and I gorge ourselves what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month, you gain access to not one, but two entire podcasts. I feel like my waveform got quieter again. $5 gets you Takeout, a monthly commentary track where none of us want to play anything, so we watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 is everything else. That's the grab bag tier. Anything that is not related to podcasting, like actual podcasting, goes in there. We play video games. We do Buckshot Roulette. We're gonna do more Buckshot Roulette.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna get super drunk and play Buckshot Roulette. It'll be great.
We're gonna play Buckshots Roulette.
Yeah.
That's right.
Backshot Roulette.
And then the mysterious $10 tier gets you pictures of the dog.
That's right.
The dog. You get a picture of Peanut every now and then.
Yeah.
My most
Peanut.
strange of creatures.
We have a Dios Mío la Criatura channel for animals, but this is exclusive animal.
This is only for beloved podcast mascot Peanut.
Also, for other Patreon content, last month we all watched the first couple episodes of Baki together. And if we had my way, we'd do it again this month.
We'd still be watching Baki.
But I love you, so we'll watch something else instead that's probably worse.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't there for that one.
She says, lying. About which part, Saturn? Who could say?
She's just my God, she's completely blocked it out from her memory. Sweet God.
We go back and listen to the audio commentary, and there's just suspicious, silences at certain points.
Every so often you'll just hear me say, "That's right, Oatsy," and you'll be, confused.
Yeah.
We do more Baki, and Oats is in the recording, but she's muted, so we just hear Asia go yeah, that's right.
No. You just replaced my track with sousaphone sounds like the adults in Peanuts.
Yeah.
You remember the Hobgoblins in MST3K episode where at one point they just replaced themselves with cardboard cutouts that were just hey, here's a funny guy.
I know.
Oh, watch out.
I do think it would be funny to go back to the Baki episode and just compress Oates' audio down to 1 kilobyte a second. So you hear
just a bunch of crunchy waveform noise. Yeah.
It sounded like that one Tumblr post where someone fed Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" into a MIDI converter, and even though you're not supposed to be able to get vocals out of a MIDI thing because it was an automatic conversion, you can kind of hear her faint ghost voice.
Right.
They're putting her in Fortnite, by the way.
Great.
I guess I can cross that off the docket.
Yeah.
That was on the docket.
No,
I forgot
this week.
I forgot we were doing a roundup.
Yeah. It's the last roundup of the year.
Oh, it is.
Last podcast of the year, because Christmas decided to be a little whiny bitch and fall on a Wednesday, which is recording day.
What a horrible time.
The worst day of the week to have Christmas.
No, it's miserable. You can't, I took time off to not be working, but there's no comfortable way to take that time off, right? You just have to take a bunch of time off in the middle of the week, and it fucking sucks. 0 out of 10 do not recommend Christmas being on a Wednesday. Christmas should be on a Friday. In fact, I think we should just change the date so that it's the second to last Friday of every month.
Agreed.
Of every December. No, of every month.
I don't think JC will care.
Yeah, no, it's not his birthday anyway.
No, he doesn't care. He's fine.
His birthday's in September or something, I think.
It is.
Yeah, I think
co-opted that.
If I recall rightly, they decided 12/25 because it was an old fucking Mithraist holiday, and they're well, the pagans like the winter holidays, so we'll just jam these things together.
Yeah,
the church was well, Jesus should get presents too on someone else's birthday, and they were no, we're gonna get Jesus presents too, and even Jesus is no.
I don't need
I
proof.
don't, what?
Just like circa 500 AD, and like the fucking Pope's just like, well, I think Jesus' birthday should be on St. Nicholas's Day. That old fool loved that little guy.
I think that's like one of the requirements to being a saint is loving that little guy.
Yeah, a
Specifically
big fan of that
Jesus.
guy.
Yeah, like you kind of.
But even among the saints, he really loved that little guy.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
St. Nicholas's favorite arc of the gospel was the one where it was Jesus Christ as like a little kid, and he still had his monkey tail.
He blew up the moon once.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was John the Baptist.
Put it back.
It's really fucked up that after Salome killed John the Baptist, that Jesus Christ turned into a really big monkey and killed his dad.
You know, Sarah, you're right. God did put the moon back in Dragon Ball because Kami restored it.
I'm just
Great,
glad that
thanks.
Michael got his wish on the Dragon Balls and got a pair of panties.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Anyway. What did everyone do?
I didn't do shit. I drew for a week. Sorry, I was.
God,
not
I wish that was
productive.
me. God, I wish that was me.
When was the last time I was on a roundup? I have a lot of
I
shit
don't
to talk
know.
about.
It's been a little while for you, unfortunately.
The world's first ever 7-hour roundup as Oats recounts everything she's done in the last 2.5 months.
I'll keep mine brief, similar to Sarah. Like, I played like a little bit more Path of Exile 2, and then realized I kind of hated it, and then mostly just played the new Warframe update and also more Fallout 76.
That's right.
That's basically it for me.
I'm trying to go through everything. Everybody else goes first while I try and like compile what's been going on.
Okay. Well, I actually do have a couple of things to talk about.
Hang on. It's not an episode of The Gorge unless Peanut makes an appearance.
Our mascot. We should get Peanut shirts.
I'm gonna get us all Peanut shirts.
You should.
And
you
I
should,
expect
you should
all
draw.
of you to wear them.
We should. If we're gonna sell merch, it should be Peanut. Should be on the merch.
I think Peanut.
There needs to be a Peanut shirt, and there needs to be a Strange Gamers Union shirt.
Yeah,
You know what I can?
I really want to make a Strange Gamers Union shirt. I just haven't sat down to make the design yet.
You know what I can do is Melissa got me that 3D printer, so I can make little Peanut figurines.
Oh my god. Just a one-eyed pit bull that we just sell to people. Like, this is our little guy.
Yeah.
You have to pray to him every single day.
I'm writing that down right now. I'm making notes.
You put him in your little Shinto shrine, and every New Year's you go clap clap.
I already have an idea for an episode icon. Actually, no, I don't need you to send me a picture of Peanut. I have pictures of Peanut in the Patreon.
You have
channel.
so many pictures of Peanut.
Are there any pictures of Peanut in there of Peanut like lying with his belly up? Do you know?
Oh yes, of course.
There's probably one or two. I know I've taken a couple pictures, so.
Oh, Dios mio, where's the Peanut zone? Where is? There it is. There's a Peanut zone. I'm gonna go look for it while you continue to do stuff.
Fair.
So I played Balatro.
How much Balatro did you play, Van?
Hold on, I'm gonna check how much Balatro. I downloaded Balatro 5-6 days ago. Let me just check my. It's probably not that. It's probably not as bad as.
It's probably not 50 hours.
Yeah, no. I have so many Steam games. Oh my god. It's only 5 hours of Balatro.
Okay.
So it's not.
okay.
You put it on your phone.
But I did put it on my phone, so I can't keep track of that. That's probably another 3-4 hours there.
Okay, not too bad.
I have been playing Balatro every day.
Yeah, I thought
But
so.
it's not a game that you need to sit down and play a ton of to get your fix.
Right.
But I downloaded it and I played it for a little bit and I texted one of my friends and just like, so I downloaded Balatro and then I just included the gif of Frank from Always Sunny going, "Oh my god, I get it."
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you do. like
now you have a gambling problem. Hooray!
One of my other friends was like, so like, what is Balatro? And we're all like, it's like poker, but if poker were really addicting, and you didn't actually lose any money when you lost.
Right.
It's funny. I thought there would be more.
No, it's just poker.
But it's just play poker hands. It's just a poker rogue like. Like I was expecting there to be like a story of some kind, but no, there's not.
No.
It's just you just play it, and it's really fun, and
That's
the number go up.
And you get the big number.
The number go up.
And isn't that the most important part?
Why would you overcomplicate the joy of an increasing number by putting some stupid bullshit like a story there?
No. Fuck
Like I can play Balatro, and then I can play Vampire Survivors, and just the number go up.
Oh,
It
oh,
go
buddy,
up.
that number just goes up. It's so good.
I did get the thing with Balatro that I got with Vampire Survivors, where if I play it for too long, I close my eyes and just see it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I went to bed one night and I was lying in bed and I'm like, oh no, there's cards. I can see them.
I can't.
I never have that exact thing, but what I do have is if I play a video game too long and I go to sleep, I'll be able to hear the sounds of it.
Yeah, especially with Balatro, because Balatro just has like the one overlaying background track that does change as like you're doing things, but like
Right.
you just hear the same song over and over again. And
Yeah, it's the one they played at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
It's
and
just the
I'm
only Balatro song.
and I'm like, oh yeah, it's there.
These two suffer from extreme symptoms of the Tetris effect.
That's correct.
I think it would be extremely funny to get a Game of the Year nominee at that show one year that did not have any music or sound in it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And just have the orchestra has to very briefly do like a rendition of 4 minutes 33 seconds.
Yeah.
God.
So I've done that. I also, thanks in part to the Game Awards, which we'll talk about, I realized I never actually played Okami, so I bought Okami because it's $4.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
I've only played that for a little bit, but again, I get it.
Okami is the best 3 games Platinum ever made, and by Platinum I mean Clover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it is. I have to stress 3 entire video games, even though they pretend it's only 1.
Yes. I'm not very far in it, but it's, and I know they're not nearly the same at all, but playing it is putting the same smile on my face that playing Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon puts on my face. They're different time periods, they're different aesthetics and whatnot, but there's just enough like in the music and like just kind of like the setting of like an old Japan that I'm like, oh yeah. I love that. I love that shamisen. Love that flute.
Oh, folks, we love a shamisen around here.
I love that goofy humor.
Yeah. Oh, it's so goofy. Oh, Susanoo is great.
Susanoo, or should I say, Groose Senior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rusano.
It's just, yeah, he is just
Ah.
I love Ishin too. I love Navi. The new Navi, Ishin. No, it's just great. The designs are all really, really cute. The gameplay feels really good. Like, again, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand why everyone is so excited for Okami too.
Knowledge has been unlocked.
Every character design in that game is so good too. Like there's a design. There's like, I mean, there's a lot of characters who are like based on stuff from other like Japanese myth and like famous stories and all that, right? Like even Ishin is kind of a backdoor of that. But like there's a really good design for Kaguya in there. There's a character you'll meet at some point named Waka who's like extremely good. There's just lots of fun. There's lots of fun people in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited to play more of that. I've also been playing, I've been continuing to play Mario and Luigi, but I know I'm not going to beat that before end of the year, so I'm kind of like, I'm more okay with just kind of letting it go. I did get to a point that made me put Snoutlet on best Scrimblow of the year.
A Snoutlet? You mean that thing
So-
Peanut has?
So
Yeah.
Snoutlet is a character who is not a pig.
I don't believe you.
Let me find a picture of Snoutlet so you can see why he's not a pig.
I feel like you're about to send me a picture of that pig from fucking Gravity Falls.
The most pig-coated animal you've ever seen in your life.
Let me see here.
Apologies if you. I'm sure
Snaplet.
it'll come out in the sound editing. Apologies if you hear me having any little clicks. I am currently making the thumbnail for the episode.
Okay. So this is Snoutlet,
excited.
who is not a pig.
I don't
Sure,
believe you.
okay.
He's not a pig
Why
at
do you
all.
Tell me lies.
Right, and and pigs are flying, right?
Uh-huh.
There's two bits that made me put Snoutlet on list for best Scrimblow. One is a bit where, because he's insistent that he's not a pig, and so whenever you meet a character and someone like talks to me, he says, my name is Snoutlet, I'm not a pig.
Sure.
There is one bit where he says, I'm not a pig, I'm also not a log, a dog, a hog, anything that's two letters and ends with G.
I see. Okay.
And then there's another bit where you're confronting the quirky mini boss squad of this game,
Mm-hmm.
which is the God, what was there? It was the they are tension and wire,
Okay.
like tension wire.
Yeah.
They're introducing themselves for the first time, and the camera's cutting back and forth between them and Mario and Luigi, like, you know, in their battle stances ready to fight them.
Mhm.
And since Snoutlet is the one who does the talking because it's a Mario and Luigi game, Mario and Luigi can't actually speak.
Right.
Whenever it cuts back to Mario and Luigi, and Snoutlet is like, "Yeah, they're gonna kick your butts. We're gonna stop you." Snoutlet is backing up further and further, and every time it cuts back to them,
That's
till
pretty good.
eventually he backs up far enough that he falls off the cliff.
That's cute. Okay.
And I'm like, okay,
Great.
you're going on the list.
Yeah, that deserves that. Okay.
The only other thing I did is I started playing Ebenezer in the Invisible World because we watched Muppet Christmas Carol, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that game was coming out. I should check that out.
The most bizarre video game, like, possibly ever.
Yeah, it is. It is as far as Metroidvanias go, it feels pretty good. It plays very solidly. The writing is a little free-to-play mobile game.
Uh-huh.
You know, where everyone kind of has like the same voice,
Right.
no matter what.
Everybody has the same kind of personality and, like,
Yeah, and
talking quirk. Yeah.
the dialogue is way more expository than it is trying to be like narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The character designs are great though.
Sure.
The art design and direction is rock solid, and the premise of the game is actually really funny. Like, I was cracking up during like the intro cutscene where it's like revealing what it is, because the idea is that it's the year after the book takes place,
Uh-huh.
and you know, Scrooge is like he's celebrating, he's the talk of the town,
Mm-hmm.
and he's you know, glad to be making amends. He's comfortable where he is now, and a ghost visits him and is like, hey, so you know that the family that owns the industrial factories across London,
Uh-huh.
so their son who inherited the factories is worse than you were. So we had some ghosts visit him, and the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come showed him a future in which he developed a machine that rendered all the factory workers obsolete and took away all of their jobs with this automated process.
Uh-huh.
This device that can just automate everything and make all human input worthless. And he invented it, and he was so excited when he invented it that he immediately died because he was like 90 years old. So, you know, we tried to show him that if he continues down this path, like, this is where he's going to end up. So he looked at that, and this is like the ghost telling Scrooge this, and he's like, so the ghost showed him that, and he just said, oh, Well, now I've gotten a look at the device, so I kind of know how to build it now. So we fucked up.
So we might have
So we kind of
slightly fucked up.
Mistakes were made.
So we need you to kind of go and talk to him
Slash kick his ass.
and like confront him
maybe?
on this, and so and so like you go out and like there are unions protesting in the streets, and oh my god, Saturn. Perfect. Anyway, Saturn just posted the title card that you're all going to be seeing. You
Also going on a t-shirt. Please look forward to it.
So you go out in the streets, and there's like the workers union is like protesting in the streets, and you have to go beat up the cops that are trying to arrest the protesters.
Fantastic.
So it's like, cool, Scrooge really went all in on this goodwill towards men thing.
Right.
And then the rest of the game is about you dealing with, with like people's problems and whatnot. And the way you gain abilities is that you just recruit spirits.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Like other spirits that have like things to do. Like they've got like the chains on them, like Jacob Marley and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's how you learn like your bounce attack and whatnot. Eventually you'll get like your grappling ability and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Ebenezer Scrooge can backdash, which is the real moral of A Christmas Carol.
Well, yeah, once you've become pure of spirit,
Christmas.
once you become pure of spirit and like renounce your materialist ways, you gain Devil May Cry moves.
Well, it's exactly like what Alucard did. Is he renounced his evil heart, and on the side of good now he can backdash.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah. And then the only thing that I wish this game would have, and maybe I'll unlock it later, is that he's got the cane, and his name is Scrooge.
Sure.
But he does not have a pogo.
No pogo?
And you think in like some kind of platformer, you think that would be like a requisite, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the things where they know if they decided to do that, Capcom would whip their head in that direction.
Yeah. It's true.
I just feel like he needs like a proper bounce attack.
Because it's not just Capcom who'd whip their heads at that.
Yeah.
It'd be a Disney exec.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But I mean, I do agree. His name is Scrooge.
Yeah, you do get a dive kick attack.
Okay.
A little ghost orphan gives you the ability to dive kick.
I'm always saying this.
My heart just went there. Are you telling me that Tiny Tim died and gave you a dive kick?
No, Tiny Tim is one of the first characters you see in the game, though, and he's like, "Hey, Scrooge, how you doing? I'm so glad you're here to mentor me."
I'm so happy to not be dead, Mr. Scrooge.
I was so prepared for like Tiny Tim to have died, and like it was going to be my time, Mr. Scrooge. But since you seem to have cleaned your act up, I'm here to give you my one ghost power.
So
every ghost can do this. Most simply, just choose not to.
So, in case y'all don't really know, is that the line in a Muppet Christmas Carol where Gonzo says, "And Tiny Tim, who did not die."
Yes.
That's a line in the book.
Yeah.
That's how it's revealed that Scrooge's kind heart was saved Tiny Tim's life. Yeah. Because, and I watched a video on this afterward, like where it's like, the reason that line exists is because Charles Dickens forgot to include anything about Tiny Tim near the end, and his editors were like, "What happened to Tiny Tim?"
Well, did he die or not?
And Tiny Tim, who did not die.
Yeah, so Dickens is like, I guess I got to include a line about him.
You have to include a line about it. I'm sorry.
Like the video essay I was watching, like literally called it like the tether cat principle, which is like, unless you tell us something changes, we're gonna assume things stay the same.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
But no, I'm actually enjoying Ebenezer and the Invisible World more than I thought I would. It's a game that is definitely carried by its absurd presence. Like it would not really be a notable Metroidvania. It's a solid Metroidvania, but it's not doing anything super unique yet.
Right.
But the premise and the world and the characters in it are so unique and appealing that I would recommend it if anyone likes Metroidvanias.
Sure. I mean, the premise alone is very funny just because it's like it's a Christmas video game, and there are not a lot of Christmas video games. Right? So just, I mean, you can really kind of coast off of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can just ride on the coattails and the fact that there's just not very many Christmas video games, right? So, you know.
It reminds me of a thing which is like what should happen more with public domain is stuff like this.
Right.
And I saw a tweet like years ago or something where someone was like, you know, instead of doing these things where it's like, oh, the Grinch is the horror monster now, they should do a movie where the Grinch and Scrooge have to team up to save Christmas as repentance for their wicked ways.
Right.
Ben, I think this did happen, Ben. It was called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Sean Connery was in it.
And it kind of fucking sucked ass.
It was really bad. However, Sean Connery was in it, so like it could only be so bad. Like, it was still pretty bad. It could have been way worse.
I mean, the important part was that you know, he correctly predicted that Harry Potter is the Antichrist, and you know, like the epitome of anti-culture. So
he did nail that.
Who's to say whether or not that man was right or wrong?
But no, there's another tweet I saw a while ago that was like Scrooge and the Grinch talking after their change of heart, and they're like, "Well, it's good to know that our names will be synonymous with goodwill towards men from this point forward."
Yeah, absolutely.
That's about all I did. I'm very excited to play more 76. We're excited to play more Okami, and more Balatro. What if I was playing Balatro right now? You wouldn't know.
You could play Balatro right now, dude.
You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. And I wouldn't try to stop you. So, you know, you could.
Oats, did you remember what you've been up to?
Yeah, so it's been like a month and a half, so there's not as much as I thought there'd be.
Okay.
So I played more Final Fantasy XI. I got relatively far into like the main story. I'm liking it so far. But more importantly, I like how mean everybody is to you. Like, you don't get any respect as like the player character. Everybody knows that you're kind of like you are a focal protagonist, but you are not like the main character of the story. Right? Like, you are not the warrior of light like 14 does. You are just some schmo. And everybody lets you know that at every turn. Half the cast just doesn't like you. They think you're weird.
That's great.
Let's see, what else did I do?
We could pivot into, I mean, obviously, if you want to talk about something else, this could be where we talk about Warframe.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, you two played Warframe.
Oh yeah, new Warframe thing
Warframe's biggest update ever came out, which is, again, like every year, Warframe proclaims it has made biggest update ever, and it lives up to the promise every time.
I don't think it's content-wise actually bigger than the Long War, but it is like the biggest update since the Long War.
I feel like I could argue that it is a bigger update because, like, all that came out of the new war really was like a new weekly to do and a new bounty to do in two of, but not all three of the open world maps, right?
But we also got the Drifter from that, and like an entire like fucking like 6-hour story mode and all that shit. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It was substantive.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of things to do after that quest is done, you know what I mean?
I guess that's true.
Because, like, yeah, the quest is extremely, like, interesting, and it has a lot of bite to it. But, like, ultimately, you do the new war, and it's just, like, a very long MSQ, and that's it. And then, like, the Whispers in the Walls came out, and that was a comical amount of new stuff, because it was, like, 4 new game modes, a new enemy type, a new weekly, and then new dailies to do, right? And then 1999 just did the exact same thing again, only there's now a new character, I guess, to play. Like, characters, rather, to play as, along with the Operator, the Drifter, and the Warframes. And a new vehicle, and 2 whole new enemy types.
Ooh. Now you've told, I think you've told us what 1999 mode is. Can you, but I've forgotten.
Okay, so I guess to explain, going back to Warframe's like original premise, it was supposed to be a sequel to Dark Sector, but it wasn't really a sequel to Dark Sector so much as it was like Dark Sector's original like gameplay trailer came out and everyone was like, oh, this is so cool, and then Dark Sector came out and everyone was confused as to why it was like that.
Hmm.
And then
also,
they made Warframe, which was that actual trailer come to life.
And part of Warframe too is I believe at the time it had to distance itself from Dark Sector a little bit because like they didn't actually own the rights to Dark Sector, right? So like it's a sequel, but then like they also couldn't really have it be actually a sequel. So there's some stuff that doesn't really line up. But all that to say that 1999 is them going, we are going to go back and do basically what Warframe's version of Dark Sector was.
Okay.
So it's very much like the bare bones plot of what Dark Sector is, which was dealing with a terrorist attack somewhere in Eastern Europe as a bomb threatens to fall, and there is a ravaging horde of like techno-rot zombies as a result of the turn of the millennium. It's the exact same thing. Just, you know, a lot of the stuff in the middle is kind of different. Like, 1999 is, like, actual Y2K as opposed to Dark Sector, which was very, like, post 9/11.
Yeah, Dark Sector took place in the place that every 7th gen shooter takes place in.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Which
Resident
is like
Evil
weird,
5,
wet,
you know?
brown shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want your shit to be wet and brown. Well, I guess you do, but like,
You do, actually.
Actually,
Those are the...
ideally-
if
yeah,
you-
dude, no.
You want it to be those exact two things,
Yes.
and ideally nothing else.
yes, actually, you're right.
That's our title. That's our title now. Sorry.
Oh god.
But yeah, there's just a lot going on in it. But I think the most important part is there's actual writing in it for once, which is
Ooh.
like super nice. Like
It has a
I think
dating
Saturn
sim,
has talked
doesn't
about
it?
it.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing you've been talking about. Like, you can actually go on dates, which is...
Yeah, there's like
So-
VN stuff with
So
it.
that's like the big one, which is that like the actual like plot content of 1999 is like, I in a lot of ways is the same kind of deal as a normal like Warframe plot content update, which is to say it's about an hour and a half of like kind of vibes and delivering most of a story that makes sense, but not quite all the way. But it's fine. But the real meat of it comes with the fact that like part of the ongoing like narrative of that and like the stuff you do after you finish the main plot is that you have like text convo, you have like AIM convos with the various party members basically as like part of your daily thing that you go back and do, and they're all like just like conversations with these characters, and as a result that it's a daily thing and like you do it for quite a while, gives them quite a long time to actually like dive into the characters' mindsets with some nuance and have them say things that like they can just have a conversation about something that isn't like saying plot required things, you know? And as a result, they get some room to stretch their legs out, and the characters are really compelling and the writing is really good, which I enjoy quite a lot.
Interesting.
It's also, I guess, also just as importantly, it is specifically the first 5 out of the original 8 Warframes, like the 5 popular ones, given extremely sexy human makeovers. So,
Good.
you know, it's everything the weirdos want in Warframe.
Yes,
6
agreed.
actually.
Well, Quincy is
Oh, right, that's
not
right.
supposed
No,
to be
you're right.
Rhino, but yeah.
There's 6 of them, but Quincy... It's very funny. They added a new Warframe called Site 09, which is like not an actual Warframe name. It's given as a code name, but based on the name, you're meant to infer that it was supposed to be the actual 9th Warframe. And it was not, obviously. There was he's like the 54th or whatever, but they go back and be like, no, yeah, this is like a lost model or whatever, which I think is very fun.
Right.
Extremely fun. I've been enjoying it a lot. I like Arthur. Not surprising anybody. The extremely hot swordsman who's missing one eye. Very hot.
Yeah,
always
gotta have
it's
one
like the exact damaged eye situation that Apri does.
You know.
Yeah. The Saturn bait character is unfortunately not one of the Hex, and is actually barely in the story or post-story, which pisses me off.
She is the driving villain she's like the villain who drives the plot, only to die in the begin, like during the quest line, so she stops being a character.
No.
And it's one of those things you don't see her die, so I feel like she will probably come back in some way because she's very larger than life, right?
Oh,
Right.
Saturn's on that same kind of copium I'm on. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes around.
It does. It does go around. I am huffing that copium. It's also a thing where, based on her design, and they did debunk this as being the plot, but game dev changes, and it might have been written a different way before. She's kind of designed like she was supposed to be the proto for one of the other original 8. The one who is Saren, who is the cool poison lady or whatever, but she has a lot of similar gubbins going on, and I think it's possible they might have changed that at some point in writing, or they're going to come back to it later and go, by the way, here's a Saren proto frame for you out of literally nowhere, which I would be okay with. I would be very happy with that.
Was Saren one of the original 8?
Yeah. She was early. I know she was before, because 9th was Nova, I think. I believe Saturn was one of the original 8.
She got introduced in update 7, so yes, that would make her, I think, one of the original. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always saying this. Anything else that you've done, Oats?
Not a whole lot that we can't all talk about together, which is Fallout 76 released raids this month.
Yes.
And they're good.
And I've been having a blast playing them.
We've all cleared one once, and we've all started on a second one, but Oatsy has been in the mines.
Yeah,
she's been
running around.
Yeah.
I'm already halfway through to the last achievement, / title that they give out for doing those raids.
You've done 30 of those fucking things?
Yeah.
Christ alive, girl. Good for you.
That's
Good for you.
very impressive.
I like killing things, and bullets too slow.
The thing is, I would probably also be doing the same thing, but the idea of getting onto any kind of voice convo with strangers and thing, I just can't do it.
Oh, I haven't even been doing that. I just jump in as a pub and clear out stage 1 and just do stage 2 with a bunch of people and hope for the best.
You know what? You're so valid.
Because I think every other stage of the raids can be cleared with just randos, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like 2
needs coordination.
2 does need coordination, but I have been lucky enough to, anytime I do stage 2 with pubs, I get it with 2 out of the other 3 people doing their best to, if not doing voice stuff, then doing callouts with using the new ping system to go hey, enemy here.
Right.
I might have to try that at some point, just because I would actually like to do that a lot more than I have been, because I want tons of shit from that, and I'm a sicko and a freak and play Eva. Unfortunately, I feel the need to announce after when we played last year all together, and we got to the end of it and we did our little roundup, and I played 250 hours of Fallout 76, and I feel reasonably confident I will never put anything remotely resembling that much time into this game again. Just today, I've broken 1,000 hours in Fallout 76.
Hooray!
Congratulations!
So, I have... I've made some mistakes. There have been a few, or however that Queen lyric goes.
Yeah. It's okay, Saturn, mostly.
You know.
Is
Anyway,
it?
Anyway, all this to say is the rates are actually like outside of our first initial attempt at it. I do think that they're like once you kind of grasp the level of abstraction it wants out of you, I think they're really like they're not like incredibly well designed, but considering it's Bethesda's first attempt, that's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
I feel challenged even when I'm at a point where I can kind of cheese it.
The sicko Destiny head in me is like it's like, okay, I'm not like super like blown away or anything, but it's still like, you know what? I'm glad this content's here because it's something to do that's like an end game pursuit, and it's like aside from like I think like the second encounter needing an ability, like someone be able to read a map to tell you where the things are, right? But I think you could use that. Aside from that, though, I think they're like perfectly fine raid encounters that you could expect to get from Fallout 76.
Yeah. Like, if I have any single beef with the raids, it's probably just that, like, I just wish there was more, like, connective tissue leading you to them.
Yeah, it's really weird that there's not even like an NPC that goes, "Hey, look at this weird hole."
Yeah, you just kind of are expected to wander up to this glowing green hole, like in the ash heap, and then just kind of walk in. And there's no like, I mean, you know, like I was expecting even the barest form of a quest to like.
Yeah, I will say I do like the Dark Soulsy nature of there not being anything to it except just a bunch of logs on the inside going like, jeez, the scientist fucked it up again.
Yeah, it's very Resident Evil. I hope this gorilla we injected with 8 viruses doesn't escape. Next entry, it escaped.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I do think it just needs like. And here's the thing, like, it's late game, and, like, this would have actually, funnily enough, this suggestion would have impacted our ability to do it, because Ben has not done the Enclave, like, the main Enclave quest yet. But, like, it really should have been, like, the prerequisite is you have to do the Enclave quest, because it means you've played enough of the game to be done with like,
the main quest.
Yeah,
to be done with the main quest, and that will be reasonably confident that you've had time to develop, like, a gear set and a build or whatever else,
Sure.
right? And, like, it should just be, like, Modus, like, hey, I've lost contact with this, like, you know, facility over in this part of of Appalachia, and I would like you to go back in there and reclaim it for me.
Yeah, that's
like,
it.
That's simple. But
Like,
it's not there, and it feels conspicuously absent.
It's
Right.
really weird, especially because like the trailer leading up to it kind of made it seem like there would be at least some kind of quest attached to it.
Yeah, there's like dialogue.
Yeah, but it's all just taken from the holotapes and stuff,
Right.
right? It's very weird. I think that's my only like kind of sticking point. Otherwise, I think actually the raids themselves are good. I think all of the encounters are pretty entertaining. So
it's interesting to go from 14 to this kind of raid, where it's like when 14, when you're doing alliance raids or whatnot or anything, where it's like, okay, well, you have to be at this certain level. You know, you have to have this kind of gear equipped, like at least this level of gear, before you're even allowed to go in. And here are the strategies you need to do.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the same every time, right? Like it's the same pattern every time. To go from this where it's like, you can just go in and be like, yeah, you can't win. No, sorry, your damage output isn't high enough. Come back, rebuild.
Do it again. You fucked it up.
You have to go in intentionally with a certain level, with certain kind of build to even clear the first hurdle.
Yeah.
And I just think that's interesting that you can be like, yeah, no, you can't win. You can go in and try, but you won't win.
Right.
I do kind of like the old video game nature to that. Although I think, considering it is a multiplayer cooperative game, I think that it is kind of like that is bad execution for the game that Fallout 76 is. But I do respect it because I do miss when games just did that to you.
I do think your ammo should be refunded if you die.
if you don't clear it.
Yeah.
That's again like I think my only lasting complaint. It's like I know like economy is the only thing that Fallout really has to push you on, but it's still like if you're going to make a thing where like an encounter sometimes like if someone dies really early in an encounter, which is really possible in most of them, in a lot of cases like you're fucked.
Right.
Like just go back to the and if it's like in a world where someone can die really early and they can't revive and that fucks up the encounter and also the bosses are like huge resource hogs, especially like the gatekeep encounter is a huge resource hog and the last boss is a huge resource hog. Them not making failure a material economic punishment feels like really bad.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think, or at the very least, anytime you clear a tier, you should just get an absolute boatload of contextual ammo, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they give you a lot, but it is nowhere near enough.
No, like they should just give you like a truly absurd
Sicko
amount
mode
of,
ammo.
Yeah.
sicko amount of contextual ammo, and I think that would have kind of helped ease some of it because there's just like a couple of little friction points. Like the second part of the raid is the only thing that feels truly RNG based, and that means you can just kind of bang your head against that wall forever.
And the problem with phase 2, I think, is that like you aren't given enough tools to respond to the problem. Like if you could ping the tonberries in some manner.
Oh, if you could like tag them and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like yeah, you can tag them, but because it's the way Fallout is, it only lasts for like 2 seconds. It's not actually helpful.
I do think that they need to like make that last a little bit longer.
Yeah,
because you can tag enemies and you can get the tag your id perk in Fallout 4, and you can do that exact thing where you just tag enemies on your Pip-Boy, and then they'll just stay on your radar until you kill them or you leave.
Yeah, I just think like there's just it definitely feels like baby's first raid encounter, right?
Which it is.
Which
so
it
like
is.
I'm sure they'll learn next time whenever that next time happens.
Yeah. Besides round 2, it's an incredibly well developed raid and it's a ton of fun.
I actually like it a lot. Yeah, I was really surprised, honestly. Just next time, give us a super mutant one. Let there be a plot attached to it, and maybe no RNG based anythings, right?
Yeah, like it's like with there needs to be a map reader role for the second encounter. I think what would help a lot for the next one in terms of like creating something that engages the players and demands some communication is like to create encounters where you need to have like certain people doing specific things.
Yeah.
And like the second encounter is a little bit of that, but it doesn't actually have a communication like aspect at all. And so as a result, it's just like people doing different things randomly.
Yeah.
But all the best like to compare contemporary Destiny raids, like which are similar squad size, similar expectations of combat, are also like, hey, someone has to go do this thing, and they have to coordinate with this person who's doing this other thing, and yada yada yada.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, I like it a lot. I'm hoping next time is a little bit more. What's the word? They kind of
refined.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Adjusted. Yeah.
Just adjust it, and I think it'll be really good. Yeah. So.
Just a little bit of
Who's ready for ghouls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
I know I am.
Anything else?
I think that is it for me. Outside of just saying, Sarah and I are almost done with Deep Space Nine. We have like 3 episodes left to go.
Oh my god.
We are so close. I guess I don't want to talk about it too much because obviously, God help me if I spoiled anything for Saturn, right? Because I enjoy Deep Space Nine a lot. But like, season 7 is weird. I don't know if I would call it good. I might even call it bad.
Oh.
But I do think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it's kind of where I'm at.
It's one of those. It's like Baki.
It is.
It's got a lot of problems where they want to try and treat it like it is a serial show that's going to have another season, but they all know they only have this season left.
Oh, you mean like the last season of Scrubs?
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it, honestly.
And then also, like, it's just like, because it is serialized, you lose a lot of the charm. Like, the first 6 seasons of DS9 are so good because it's about, like, the most fucked up people you've ever known in Starfleet, like, all being forced to live together in an enclosed space for, 6 years at this point, and, and what that does to, like, kind of how that changes their dynamics and how it makes all of them get along or hate each other or fuck each other and still hate each other, right? Like, like good TV. Like, it's really good. It's really good episodic TV, and Deep Space Nine Season 7 very quickly takes a hard turn into serialization. The last 10 episodes are all like, nope, we're not done yet. We'll wrap it up,
next time.
In the next episode. And you lose a lot. You lose a lot of the goofiness. You lose a lot of the like the stuff that makes the show at least appealing to me. I think there's still a lot of good stuff. I think Gul Dukat is probably one of the best characters in Star Trek ever. They take an interesting turn with that character. I shan't say another word. I don't know if it's good, but I do know I like it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
I don't know if it's good, but I do know I like it. And there's just a lot of that. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's good, but I still like it, so I guess it's fine. It's an interesting show. I like Deep Space Nine a whole lot, even with all of its problems. So I guess it's fine.
I see.
God, what else about it? It's tragically, I'll one tiny spoiler, and I won't say anything else about it.
That's fine.
They stuck the baseball episode all the way in goddamn season 7.
Wow.
What's wrong with them?
I know, it's so fucked. I guess it makes sense because A Fistful of Data, which is the best episode of TNG, is also...
It's like in the last season,
It's also in season 7, so... I guess the thing I'm the most interested about is the fact that, like, everybody tells me, and by everybody I mean Saturn and Oats, and also Jenny from Big A Nerds fame, is that Voyager is not a good show, but it has a great ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like DS9 is hurtling toward being the exact opposite.
Being a great show that just really fucking fumbles the bag at the very end.
I can't say anything because I know how Deep Space Nine ends.
Yeah, so I don't know. But like, I will say, even though I think season 7 is weak, it's not like terrible TV. It's just kind of, it's hard to go from like 10 out of 10 to just 7 out of 10 over and over again. Just kind of like, that was fine, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to go from one to the other. But I don't think that means you should not watch Deep Space Nine. I think you should watch Deep Space Nine. I think the first 6 seasons of Deep Space Nine being the best Star Trek justify the fact that you should watch Deep Space Nine, even if the 7th season is pretty weak, right? So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my review.
I will finish it someday.
Yay!
I am remembering that I have not watched a lot of TNG in a while. I should probably get back to that.
You should.
You should.
I should watch more TNG.
You should.
What I'll say, Sarah, is if you finish Deep Space Nine and feel dissatisfied and betrayed by its ending and you need a quick messy rebound, well, let me tell you, Voyager's just right over there. And Voyager is never going to impress you, but you will always know what to expect from it.
Yeah. It is the Fallout 4 of Star Trek episodes.
Fantastic.
Every episode is a middling 7 out of 10 that is just delicious potato chips.
Here's the thing. You can't be disappointed by Voyager when it throws out like a Deep Space Nine season 1 episode with like really insane politics, like the one about the guy who could hypnotize himself into believing he was a war criminal or whatever.
Yeah.
Because every episode of Voyager is that. It's just what the show is.
Yeah, it's
The whole show's like that.
The whole show is like everything that you know secondhand from the original series, like camp and all. It's great.
Excellent.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it.
It sounds like Voyager is the show where you want to tell your friends about an episode of Voyager rather than make them watch Voyager.
Yeah, well, they again, do want to make me watch Voyager. No, don't get twisted.
Yeah, and I will say, like, again, like, Voyager has its pluses. I think its cast is really strong. Like, obviously, like, DS9's cast is the best by, like, a country mile.
Yeah.
But, like, I would say I like the Voyager cast even more than the Next Generation. Because the captain's a lot more interesting. The people, like, even the very normal weird people, like the normal, like, unremarkable parts of the crew are a lot weirder. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of fun things going on there. There's characters that you will hate and love to hate, and then even when you eventually love them, still hate them. Mm-hmm. It's a very good cast, and like again, like it just takes the thing of like it does the opposite of DS9 actually, where it's like DS9's like we're going to be rooted in place and have to really contend with like the series' ongoing politics and the history of the world and all that shit, right? But for Voyager, it's like we're gonna do the formula show, but so far away from everything that none of it really matters,
right?
And as a result, we'll just go, no, we're just going to do Star Trek episodes unbidden by the confines of Star Trek. For better and worse.
Great.
I like the idea of what happens when the Federation isn't watching.
So, Ben, you have no idea.
The things that Janeway does once she realizes that all of command is not paying attention to her.
Like
beggars belief.
The speed at which she breaks the Prime Directive would turn your hair white.
I've watched enough of TNG to know that Picard himself, the Federation is a chain leash around his neck. And it's a good thing he has that leash because he will bite the mailman in half.
Ironically, the thing is, the most important thing about Deep Space Nine is that Cisco will still bite the mailman in half. So please look forward to that.
I would say Captain Janeway comparatively is like, oh good, I don't have this leash, and the mailman comes and she's very like polite and nice and like, oh, you know, this dog without a leash is like completely fine, and the mailman turns around and then gets bitten in half.
Yeah. She's truly like, I think she might be my favorite captain entirely because, like, Cisco is like an absolute delight to always watch, but Janeway, you want to see the plot unfold in her wake every time. She's like the funniest parts you can think of Commander Shepard.
Sure.
Excellent.
If Benjamin Sisko and Captain Janeway had traded places, Voyager would end much differently than it does, and Janeway would have, in probably season 1, maybe 2, crashed the entire space station into Planet Bajor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
She would have solved that Gul Dukat problem really fast.
She would have. I think the more accurate answer is she would have figured out a way to have steered all of DS9 directly into Cardassia Prime.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Totally.
She would have ended that Cold War in season 2. It would not be an ongoing plot point. She would have also ended the lives of the entire rest of her crew. Maybe that's okay.
Turn on your pad, it doesn't matter which feed, she hit the towers.
No, that's the title card.
Heartwarming, this Starfleet commander is a terrorist. I do love her to bits. I agree, though. I think Cisco is my favorite captain in like objectively.
Sure.
Janeway is the one who I love to see in a TV show about space nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I've brought it up before. My only experience with Captain Janeway as a person is the bit in the last Comedy Central episode of MST3K where they escape from Deep 13 and they're sailing through the cosmos, and Mike goes insane in a skit and turns into Janeway. And like Crow and Tom have to like restrain him because he's going completely off the rails.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah, famously goes on to play fucking Flemeth in the Dragon Age games.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Oh yeah, that's where I've heard that name before.
Uh-huh.
her.
This is the most
Flemeth
important.
probably more restrained than Captain Janeway.
This is the most important GIF I will ever send you. It is a quote from like episode 2.
Great.
Oh, I also know where I've heard that name before. She played, Kate Mulgrew played Mrs. Columbo in the fake
Yes.
spin-off of Columbo.
That's correct. She is Mrs. Columbo.
So Sarah, I got to tell you about Mrs. Columbo.
Okay.
So they wanted to do a spin-off of Columbo,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted it. The idea was that it's going to be about the wife that you never see,
Right.
right? Like Columbo's wife never actually appears in the show, but he just talks about her all the time.
Sure.
So they made a show about her where she solves mysteries, and eventually at some point decided that she should divorce Columbo.
Okay.
So she just kind of, they changed the name to like just be her name instead of Mrs. Columbo.
Oh,
And she talks
God.
about her ex-husband every so often.
Oh my god.
And so eventually the actual show Columbo has an episode where like in the reboot series where Columbo talks about this weird woman who like poses as his wife and like tried to solve mysteries like by taking his name.
That's like a Don Quixote bit.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was her
sounds like
first
Kate
role, by
Mulgrew.
the way. Her career crashed for almost a decade, and she didn't get anything good until Voyager because of Mrs. Columbo.
That's hilarious. Well,
But at the same time, if you were going to cast a woman to play Columbo's wife and have her do Columbo shit, I think Kate Mulgrew might literally be the perfect casting.
She
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I love that woman. So anyway, Star Trek's okay. I don't know. I'm curious to see how Sarah is going to react to the finale.
I have so much I could say about Deep Space Nine. There might have to be an episode, like a Patreon only episode after I'm done with it, where I basically just get it out of my system. Because like I am fascinated. When I say that Deep Space Nine is the best one, it's not even close. I haven't even watched all of Voyager. I've watched a little bit of Voyager. But like, Deep Space Nine's first 6 seasons are so good.
They're so Sarah-core is the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's the point. It is a sci-fi show made in a lab for me. There is not one, but 2 insane women who have terrible taste in men and love doing violence. There's the most beautiful man in the world who mostly just wants to have sex with an evil lizard spy. Worf is there. It's a great show.
Yeah, I still haven't even gotten to Worf yet. And I'm like, I can't believe he's part of the main cast. That's very funny. I'm glad him and
he's so much better in Deep Space Nine because they really lean in on like super because TNG is about. I'm already talking about Deep Space Nine too much. It's really good, but TNG is a show about being friends with your coworkers, right?
Right.
And Deep Space Nine is about like having to work with your friends. There's a difference.
Yes.
And Deep Space Nine is about that, and so like Deep Space Nine leans super, super hard into the fact that Worf is just kind of like a conservative grandpa who is in his 30s, right? Like,
yeah.
Now I gotta ask Sarah, just so I can prepare myself going into Deep Space Nine eventually. Does Worf bring Alexander, or is he still a deadbeat?
He's still a deadbeat.
Excellent.
He's still a deadbeat. Absolutely.
Now with the context, I have not seen him in Deep Space Nine yet. I have to imagine there's a bit early where Miles O'Brien is like, "Oh, hey Worf, how are you doing?" And Worf's just like, "Who the hell are you?"
I don't
No, they have a much funnier reaction, which is just the two of them like acknowledging each other at the water cooler, and that is it.
That's
Spectacular.
They like never interact. Instead, like again, Miles is off having his weird throuple with Julian Bashir and his wife. There's
Good for them.
There's so much weird relationship, and that's the other reason why I think 7 is kind of weak, is because there's none of that weird fucked up relationship stuff at all.
Once they noticed that people were doing really popular ships, they very, very pointedly started separating out the pairs that had great chemistry and were easy to write together, and paired them off with other characters that did not go very well.
Yeah.
So season 7 is filled with a lot of like, oh yeah, I've never really seen these two interact with each other.
It's fine.
I guess I see why.
Yeah, it's fine. But like, it's incredibly obvious that at some point Rick Berman noticed that Alexander Siddiq and Andrew Robinson were playing Bashir and Garrick as like a gay couple, right? Like, they've just said that. They were just like, yeah, no, that was the intent, was that for you to read them as like having some sort of homoerotic tension, right? And it's super obvious that Rick Berman finally looked up from TNG, his favorite playset, and went, wait a second, there's some gay shit going on here. And it's so tragic. I hate Rick Berman. The moral of the story is that Deep Space Nine could have been the greatest TV show of all time, but Rick Berman got in the way of it. But it's still really good. Please look forward to the 6.5 hour long Patreon episode where I stand in front of a whiteboard and do like Pepe Silva shit with like red string, and I'm like, you don't understand. It's the best one.
I feel like Star Trek must be the something awful of TV shows.
Yes.
Where its entire fate is steered by the fact that it's in control at any given point by one guy who has no idea what the fuck he has.
It's so true. Because right now we're still stuck with fucking Kurtzman. Did you see that trailer for fucking section?
I didn't watch all of it.
I want to throw up. It's so bad.
I don't have a conceptual opposement to the idea of new Trek and the idea of like, well, you know, the way of making shows and media franchises is different. We have to approach it in a different way.
Sure.
That dude just writes, produces, and directs complete slop.
And none of it looks like Star Trek even a little bit.
There's also the context of like
what Section 31 is.
What Section 31 is, and being like, it's like, it is literally the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
I can't, because I don't want to spoil too much of Deep Space Nine, but having New Trek acknowledge a thing from Deep Space Nine like this makes me want to end up on the news.
I'm very excited to finish TNG, to watch DS9, to watch Voyager, maybe watch Lower Decks, and then watch no other Star Trek content ever.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's it. I'm sorry. If we keep going, we'll be here for 3 hours.
I've seen just because on doing research for TNG, like looking at things up after an episode, like just reading stuff about it. Like I know some of the things that happen in Picard, and I'm like, can't wait to ignore that.
You should. If you see something that's like, oh, this happens in Picard, you should just immediately stop reading, throw it in the doesn't matter bin.
Yeah.
That is a show that at every stage is like just the most fucking like rotten-brained, uncreative, like fucking hack fraud shit in the world.
Abysmal shit you've ever seen. Yeah, it's fucking
J.J. Abrams killed Star Trek.
What's the thing is like, and like the important thing to know about New Trek is like Kurtzman is the face of all stuff, and Kurtzman got his start writing the J.J. Abrams movies. Well, not his start, but like his start in Star Trek, writing the J.J. Abrams movies.
Yep.
And like the fact that this dude has not at any point been disqualified from continuing to be the creative lead on Star Trek, considering that he just turns out fucking all this slop and garbage, is insane to me.
It's incredible. It's it's literally just a slop factory. I know that Lower Decks is pretty good. Like, by all accounts, it's actually pretty fun. Just because it's, you know, like, mostly because it's full of Deep Space Nine references, the best one.
Right.
So I have to watch it just for that.
I hear Morn's in it.
Morn is in it, and Quarks is franchised, so of course I have to watch it.
Uh-huh. But you know the thing about Lower Decks?
What?
Alex Kurtzman, as far as I know, not involved even a little.
Fucking imagine that. Wow. And then they canned it after 5 seasons because, you know, because they can't even let Lower Decks have the requisite 7 seasons the way the OG 90s shows got, right? Like,
No.
tragic.
Oh, excuse me, he's the executive producer on it, but,
well.
not writer or director or series creator or any of the other things that he is on all the other slop shit he's put out.
Executive producer just means he
That's like
cuts
saying
checks.
that's like saying Steven Spielberg is involved with the first 5 Transformers films.
Right.
Yeah, no, his name's on the checks. That's
Yeah,
why
he
he's
wrote-
the
he wrote-
executive producer.
He wrote a big check.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. I love Star Trek. I sure wish most of it wasn't bad.
I love Star Trek. I wish Star Trek were good.
I wish
Imagine
Star
how
Trek were-
imagine how
Being
good
a
Star Trek would be if it were
fan is-
good.
Being a Star Trek fan is surprisingly not unlike being a Tales of fan.
Or a Silent Hill fan.
Or a Star Wars fan.
Yeah. No wonder
Imagine
that.
that.
Star Trek and Star Wars fans are both just like, oh man, imagine if any entry in the series was good. God, I love this series.
Yeah. It's fun being a fan of something when being a fan means you like slightly under half of it.
Oh yeah, like Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And since you did mention Tales, I do love that the experience of being a Tales fan is like going like, yeah, Tales of Berseria is probably of the entire like 20-30 year run of the series like one of the top 3 best ones. It's like an unsteady 7.
Yeah.
But, like, it's really good though.
Yeah. Like Berseria is an 8 on a good day, and like Abyss is a 9 on a good day. Like, there's not a single game in that franchise that's a 10 out of 10. Right?
Berseria is an 8 when Magalu Maven is on screen saying some shit, and then the instant you get into a fight, it immediately becomes a 4.
Yeah.
Berseria is the best 6 I've ever played.
Literally, though, yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating franchise, much like Star Trek.
It's a game with a Metal Gear Solid 4 effect, but instead of vacillating at random, the game's like an 8 or a 9 whenever you're in a cutscene and a 4 whenever you're not.
Yeah.
So it
The
just kind of averages out.
Yeah, the oscillation of Berseria is like 8 to 4, whereas the oscillation of MGS4 is like 10 to 0.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet sometimes it scores a 12 out of 10 and you're not entirely sure how that
Yeah.
one
Like,
worked
where
out.
the fuck did that come from? Ocelot gives Snake a little smooch on top
And then-
of Ray, and
It's a
you're
Russian
like, this is the
font.
greatest game ever made!
And then you think about Act 3. And you go, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was probably the worst video game experience I've ever had in my life."
That's correct.
Anyway, we got news. Are we good with Star Trek?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got it. I've got it out of my system.
Eventually.
Don't worry, Sarah. You'll do your 6-hour podcast, and then when I finish Deep Space Nine, we'll do another one.
We'll do another one.
Sarah, so that you're able to cancel your Paramount subscription when you're done with the show, I have a suggestion.
What's that?
When we do the Star Trek spoiler cast, part of it is that you have to explain to me everything that happens in Deep Space Nine.
Yes, please.
Okay, that sounds good
Perfect.
to me.
Can I get That's Bajor you're walking into?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the other one that we haven't done in a really long time. It's the what the hell is the score thumbnail?
Yes.
one, but it's what the hell are the prophets?
Yes, we should bring that back.
Yeah, we gotta bring that one back 'cause it's a really good one.
Oh, we haven't done one of
I
those.
love that
forever.
idea because I'll tell you what, being like 3 seasons into Star Trek Deep Space Nine, my answer to that question is I have no idea.
I have no fucking clue what the prophets are.
I don't think I have a clue either.
No, I don't think think the show's gonna answer that one very
we
well.
should bring that back because I would love to be able to do a what the hell is Warframe?
Oh fuck yes.
Oh my god, we'd be
ideas.
there for 12 hours and Ben and Sarah would leave more confused than when they entered.
Yes, they would.
We're gonna spend an hour and a half of the Warframe episode just trying to explain possibilism.
Great.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Anyway, we
Okay.
have
keep going. We gotta keep going.
small news articles and one very big one, so we should get through these.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero fans are in love again after a surprise update addresses a ton of complaints.
Oh, good.
They fixed the character select screen.
Oh, thank
They-
God.
Okay.
Very good.
They consolidated every character with forms into one slot, and you just pick the form from that slot.
Okay, thank God.
They also fixed local multiplayer, so it's not just the hyperbolic time chamber. They figured out how that would work now.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
They also fixed the after image thing, which is that one where like you just dodge every hit that they're throwing at you, and it lasts like 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They just they made that last not as long, and you can cancel out of it if you're good.
Okay,
Like
cool.
you can break away from it instead of it
Okay.
just being like 10 seconds of embarrassment.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. I'll take that.
Oh, so they made it like Xenoverse, where it's like fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that.
They what else did they do?
I'm seeing like a ton of like changes to basically every like
Yeah, it's
combat
all
input in the game.
Yeah, it's all like it's just a huge list of minor things that just make things feel more smoothly. Like Dragon Point battles, you can swap faster. So
Okay.
like swap between characters faster.
It's the big QOL.
Yeah. So just very good to just kind of clean up a few things.
Sure. Cool.
Next, BuzzFeed sells Hot One to studio for $82.5 million.
No, the most important part, Ben. Why did they sell the Hot One studio?
So that the studio can make AI content.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
The thing is about the Hot Ones thing. They sold Hot One.
Yes.
The thing is, Hot Ones is a show that it probably has a budget of like
The cost of a plate of wings.
the cost of a plate of wings and the cost to fly Idris Elba out, right?
Yeah.
Or whoever, right? Because like they're probably not paying these people to be on the show because most of them are doing promotional stuff, but they are probably paying for flights and accommodations and all that good stuff if they don't
Right.
live in the area, right? So this is and I mean they sold it for an absolute, boatload of cash, but they sold it so they can just make more AI slop. Like the cheapest, easiest show to produce is still not cheap enough for these freaks. It's incredible to me.
It could be cheaper. Eventually, it could be negative money.
Yeah.
You just don't have to pay anybody. And what's this? How is anybody going to pay for anything? Because nobody has any jobs anymore? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. The money will
Well-
come in forever.
We're gonna make so
it'll
much
go
advertising
forever.
revenue off of all of our view. Where'd the viewer number go?
Where'd the fucking viewers go? Yeah, exactly, idiot.
What we
The
need to
numbers
do.
are only supposed to go up.
Yeah.
Well, if the numbers aren't going up, then the thing must be broken, obviously. So put more AI in it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just gonna have to cancel this thing that we spent $82 million on. It's whatever. We'll just like write it off on our taxes. It's fine.
It's incredible. It fucking sucks.
What an amazing amazing move. Really, another masterful gambit, sir.
Incredible.
Just nailing it.
What else?
Speaking of nailing it, Kraven the Hunter killed Sony's chaotic Spider-Man universe.
About time.
Wow, really? Wow.
Fact that after this, it came out that there was nothing stopping
That's-
Sony from using Spider-Man.
That's the most I mean, I have to say it's the most amazing, spectacular element of the story is that no one was making you punch yourself in the dick.
It's the twofer, right? It's nothing was stopping them from putting Spider-Man in it. They just didn't because they felt weird about it and they were worried about fan reaction or whatever. Because they're like, oh no, he's just in those Marvel movies and his standalone stuff. We're not going to put him in this. B, they greenlit like this and Morbius and Madam Web or whatever off of the back of Venom doing well.
Right.
Because they thought that, well, Venom did well, so people must be interested in characters from Spider-Man that aren't Spider-Man.
No.
Putting aside that it's Venom did well because it's fucking Venom.
Because the 90s put in the work, put in so much goddamn work to make Venom cool.
Yes. And then the first movie also made him gay.
Yes.
You know, like the first movie is
The
schlocky,
important thing,
campy, homosexual goop.
I've talked about how the first Venom movie is the best movie to fall out of a portal from 2004 and into 2018.
Yes. And like then Sony was like, "Oh, they obviously don't care about Spider-Man. They what I'm saying is I saw somebody call them the most gaslit company of all time."
But they did that to themselves.
That stupid ass Morbius trick wouldn't have worked on literally any other company.
Anybody else would not.
They are.
No.
They are in. The joke is that they are the dog playing chess.
I think we're gonna find out at some point. Whoever runs Sony Pictures is like on the texts of that same doctor who's like given Kanye West a crippling nitrous addiction.
You know,
absolutely.
You know, it was funny because I was thinking about this article after I saw it, and I was like, like I said, like they put in the work to make Venom cool ahead of time back in 1995 when they gave him his own comic that lasted for like 100 fucking issues.
Right.
And I'm like, they should have done that with like other villains that people actually care about instead of fucking Morbius or Kraven. And I was like, other villains like Green. No, he already had him. He was already in a movie. Doc. No, he was in a movie. They did them all. They already did all the villains that everyone cares about.
It's incredible.
Just bring them back. Fuck it.
Do a solo movie. Who fucking cares? It's fine.
They're bringing back Tony Stark. They're bringing RDJ to play Victor Von Doom. It doesn't fucking matter.
None of this shit matter. They're bringing back fucking Chris Evans. Like my man got that check showed up in his fucking house. And
yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I'll be in it. Never mind.
Yeah.
None of the people who gobble this shit up actually care. They're still gonna come see your movie and complain about it the entire time, and after it goes and go, oh, no, it's pretty good though.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was realizing afterwards. They already did bring him back. They had a Spider-Man movie where they were like, hey, Willem Dafoe is back.
And by all accounts, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
At any point in this Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe, did they put Spider-Man and Venom in the same movie?
No. They tried to do it in the
insane.
MCU.
They're insane.
They tried to set it up in the MCU, and then they forgot that they set it up. So Venom's not in No Way Home.
So, Sony executives, if I know you're listening to this because you value our input, you don't have to give up quite yet. I've got one more pitch for you. I'm sure you can bang it out really quick. You put a movie that has Venom and Spider-Man in it, and there's like an NTR thing going on because Venom's getting cozy with Peter Parker. All right,
because that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. You make that movie, you will finally have a movie that brings in $1 more billion.
It's like one of the big things is that the symbiote kind of likes Peter more than Eddie.
He's always just like, that Peter Parker dick though. And he's like. And then he's like, why do you have to just say that in my head like every 5 minutes?
Like Peter's like, hey man, come on back. I'll treat you right this time. And Betty's like, no, don't leave me.
You get one of those three characters saying the phrase sloppy seconds and you've made $1 billion out of nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, easy. It's actually really easy to make a lot of money making movies.
The thing
you
is,
just have to listen to geniuses like us instead of the cold-blooded lizards who control all your checks.
It's kind of like how Ultimate Spider-Man right now is absolutely crushing sales, and Amazing is in the gutter because Ultimate is doing the thing that Spider-Man fans want. It's that easy.
It's that easy.
It-
It's actually not hard to write something that maybe not good, but something that people like. It's
Yeah.
something we talk about a lot. It doesn't need to be good. People just need to like it.
When we call ourselves hogs at the trough, it is
Yes.
because all we want is our preferred hog slop. And
Like-
you can put tennis balls in the trough, but I'm not going to eat them.
No,
Right.
It has to be the slop.
It has to
Where's
be
my
edible.
slop? It has to be the good slop, not the AI slop.
Right.
It needs to be good slop.
Like,
Good organic slop. It's from the earth.
listen. I like Craven. I think Craven is a cool character.
Sure.
Craven has one good story, and it's the story where he died. And that story, and that story hinges on his relationship with Spider-Man.
Because I know this is hard to understand. He's a Spider-Man villain.
It's a miracle, like, that they could pull off Venom without Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing about Venom is that he's evil Spider-Man.
And we
That's
love
his
that
thing.
I don't know.
It would be so easy to make money if you simply got people to make decisions who were enthusiastic about the thing that they were making, instead of being like,
Right?
well, the number goes up and the consumers seem to like
Right.
Spingledorf, Spider-Man's friend from high school. And it's like, they don't.
Oh,
they
Saturn.
simply don't.
Saturn, no, you don't understand. They can't show any of Peter's friends from high school. Which is one of the big problems with Amazing Spider-Man, is that he has no civilian cast members.
It's
No! Comic books!
What? Hold on, Ben. You have to
We need to turn that into a soundbite.
Ben, you have to explain this to me. Why can't they show his friends from high school?
Because the execs on Marvel do not like when Peter has a recurring cast of civilian characters.
They're insane. They're
insane.
psychopathic.
They're
What the
fucking
fuck?
maniacs. No.
There's a reason why, like Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson and MJ are just not appearing in Amazing Spider-Man.
They're
Like,
Psychopathic.
It's
Oh, no, they're stupid.
The entire point of the Spider-Man character is that he's just a guy.
Yeah, he's a guy, and being Spider-Man causes problems and drama in his personal life.
Right. Like, that's
It-
the whole appeal of that character.
Also, it's the thing with Superman, who is a character of equivalent cultural import for the other big thing. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
And the best way to show someone of that stature is just a guy is to make him have to hang out with people who are also just guys.
Peter Parker used to have an NBC sitcom's worth of coworkers at the Bugle. And they're just gone. And most of them are just gone.
Do you have any idea how inexpensive and cheap it would be to make a Netflix sitcom about Spider-Man working at the office, where there's you barely film any hero bits because it's not what the show's about. It's about him working at the Daily Bugle and trying desperately to keep his shit under wraps. It would be like Scrubs, where all of the weird Zach Braff internal brain monologues would just be him going fuck, I need to say something that doesn't reveal that I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, no,
and
that's-
doing something comically suspicious in the office.
Netflix's The Bugle would be the best viewed show on Netflix in history.
I just think all the time about how they hit the formula perfect with Lois and Clark.
And then they never did it again.
And then they never did it again.
Yeah.
The adventures, My Adventures with Superman is really good because they tried to get that formula again. And, they did something different, sure. Which is why I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
I watched a
Lois
couple
and Clark is so good because it's literally just hey, this is just them goofing off at the Daily Planet and all of the stupid shit that Superman does when he's trying to pretend not to be Superman.
Yeah, I watched a handful of episodes of that show, and you know what? That is the handful of episodes I watch are really good. show that is specifically about the horrible tax of being the most conspicuous superhero in the world and desperately trying to pretend that you're normal despite just being kind of a lunkhead.
And the misery of being the ancillary characters attached to him.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
One of the best bits in that cartoon is when Clark finally stammers out to reveal the secret to Jimmy, and Jimmy's like, "Clark, I've known you since college. I know you're Superman."
yeah.
You see, I didn't get to that part. I don't think, but that's like perfect. That's pitch perfect. Yeah. I love that.
It's perfect. It's like, and God, I've like daily think about what if they just made a Bugle show? What if you used to have a cast?
It would be so easy. I'm certain you can still get fucking oh my god, what's his fucking actor's name?
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, I'm certain you could get J.K. Simmons to come back.
He'll
for sure.
Anything, yes.
He has notoriously said he loves playing JJ.
Yeah, that's why he did it in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And why he fought tooth and nail to have the little toothbrush mustache again. Yeah. And they told him not to, and he threw a fit, so he put one on.
He's a genius.
He's great. One final thing is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 12 came out today. Mm-hmm. And it has an appearance from MJ's sister, who hasn't shown up since like the fucking 70s.
Amazing.
It's like, he used to have a cast!
Ben, you saying that is making me understand why you were the one who was right to inherit the throne of watching Baki.
Saturn just daintily laying a crown on Ben's head, like, it's for you. You're the only one who can handle it.
Ben just sitting, like, really sadly and forlornly in his office chair, and the lighting changes to, like, a watercolor painting, like in Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah! Every time I think about Amazing Spider-Man, it's just the scene where Ippo gets brain damage.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I fucking dissolve the smile on my face like fucking Gurren Lagann, like Kitan and Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
Just going out like Kamina.
So this is Marvel MCU power. Amazing as I just dissolve. Oh my god. Anyway, Bandai Namco to release remastered Tales of titles, quote, fairly consistently.
They said that 6 months ago. they were like, yeah, we're gonna consistently put out Tales remasters, and then they didn't.
I guess consistently means every 6 months.
They still haven't said what the first one's gonna be.
It's Grace's.
I mean, no, they're just putting that out. That's not like the proper, like,
the article
remaster.
Oh, the article mentions that, like, this is in response to, we're putting out Tales of Grace's remastered. We're also going to do other Tales games.
They better, because they are clearly not currently making new ones of those, and I'm sure they would like to continue making money on the IP. So, like, get cracking.
Mm-hmm. They're also the list of games they can remaster is pretty short. So
yeah, like.
Maybe we'll get a version of Symphonia that works.
No, because they already put that one out on PC.
No, but it needs to work.
Yeah, well, fucking good luck. That's never happening.
Move over, Symphonia. Real Abyss heads only. They're not gonna. Here's the thing: they're not gonna remake Vesperia because they already did.
Yes, Definitive Edition is already out for Vesperia, so it's gotta be either Abyss or they're gonna go way back and do like the SNES ones.
The thing is, we say a lot how, like, Square Enix is running out of games that aren't Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Namco Bandai is running out of games that aren't Tales of the Abyss.
It's true.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're very quickly, like, dwindling down. And you can't remaster Zestiria. Nobody wants it.
Right.
Have you... would you forgive them for Tales of Arise if they Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Tales of the Abyss?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
I would.
mean, instantly, I'd show up at their office with a fruit basket. Like, I'm so sorry for everything I said. Take this.
I would
right?
take the episode down.
Yeah, no, like shave my head in penance, right? Like the whole 9 yards. Because if could you imagine lavish remake of Tales of the Abyss? It would be. What if they made it play good instead of bad? I know they're not actually capable of that, but like, what if though?
No, that's the monkey's paw curling in this scenario, which is they do the FF7 rebirth for Tales of the Abyss, and it is like, you know, the good Tales of the Abyss writing. However, now instead of playing like Tales of the Abyss, it plays like Tales of Arise.
That is some fucking. It's not fair. There was time now.
It's like, it's like
That's some Twilight Zone shit. Why would you say that?
Side grade, really? I mean,
Oh, Sarah. No. Battles in Abyss can take 5 seconds.
You're right. Good point.
That's the thing, is like Abyss might be bad because it's like one of the, not like, you know, the game, the fighting in Abyss
Right.
might not, because it's like they're one of the earlier 3D ones, right? Like they
the
didn't.
first 3D one.
Yeah.
That's right. Like there's tons of really important shit they did not figure out in that game yet, and would not figure out until like later. But even in my limited experience with it, you can go fast.
Yeah.
Like a normal fight, appropriately sometimes only takes like a couple seconds. Sometimes you go like, I'm gonna fight this boss, this like real ass boss, and that fight is like 60 seconds at most.
That's right.
You know, like
you get a grade. They
Yeah.
grade you on how good you do if you get it over with fast, right? Like the game wants you to goes fast when it comes to combat.
Because they know that they're going to be throwing a billion fucking fights at you.
Correct.
Right.
So being able to get through them quickly and is a plus.
The only reason.
Anyway, over here in the post 2015 Tales world with Berseria and Rise. Oh god, what's that? Oh no, a normal ass enemy fight that takes like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, the thing is, you want to avoid battles in the overworld and Abyss because the loading screen takes forever.
Yeah, the thing is, Abyss's fights are kind of slow, but only because they put it on the PS2.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
You want to avoid battles in Arise because the battle itself takes 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Tragic.
It's so sad. But no, I mean it's fine. I think picking Graces as your first remaster is insane because that game is not very good. Says local Star Trek fan.
It's
one of the only Tales, like I haven't played that many of the Tales games. It's one of the, I want to say maybe 4, maybe 5 Tales games that I have played to completion. Gun to my head, I could not tell you one fucking thing that happens in that video game.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
I do remember a few things about that video game, but only because I specifically remember what made me stop playing that video game.
Oh.
Is that there is a scene. Okay, so the whole thing is that the kid in white, Asbel, the main character, is like really blatantly just attracted to his king, Richard. Right? I think his name is Richard. Let's just say.
I can't confirm or deny on that one.
I'm pretty sure it's
right.
Richard. The guy in the black. He's a blonde with black clothes. You know, your standard anime handsome boy. He's like a prince, and Asbel is a knight, and he like swears his loyalty. Well, anyways, at one point, Richard becomes extremely obviously mind controlled and goes on like a full-on psychopathic cackling rampage, right? And Asbel literally almost word for word says, Richard's acting kind of strangely. And I looked at the game and I literally just walked over and shut it off. I'm like, because at that point, I was already not enjoying the writing, like at all, except for Sophie, who is the best character. Probably one of the best Tales characters.
Is it the little purple girl?
Little purple girl.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
Yeah.
She's like a robot, so she's just like really weird and kind of quirky and like has no idea how society works, and I love her. She has a really good voice actor. Like her English voice is really cute.
Uh-huh.
But not even Sophie can save that game. And like it was already pretty rough, and I hit that point, and I literally shut it off. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm good. I'm actually good. I'm great. Actually, thanks.
Excellent.
I finished that entire game, and I have to tell you, Sarah, while you were talking, I looked up Grace's Richard, and I looked at him real hard for a minute, and I was like sitting there like, I do not recognize this person. I may very well have never seen this person in my entire life. I finished that game. I promise you. I'm certain I did. No idea who that person is.
Totally.
Great.
Totally remove the knowledge of that game from your
The
brain
scene that you
instantly.
described may as well have been like you describing a dream to me. With all the failure of recognition, it simply did not activate.
Now the thing is, we're gonna have to buy Grace's F remastered anyway, so we can show our support for the company,
I'm
and
not
so they
fucking
make
doing
more
that.
of them.
You see,
Ben,
Ben.
Bandai Namco.
Oh, this
You're
isn't
fine.
Capcom. That's right.
Yeah, no, Ben, it's Bandai Namco. You can just buy Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like everyone else.
That's true.
You can join... Well, 2 of you can join me in buying Night Rain when it comes out, and the fourth will just
I
have to
know
sit
it's gonna be me.
The fourth of you will just have to sit in the cuck chair and watch the rest of us have fun.
Did you see, by the way, somebody showing off screen caps of why am I forgetting her name? Saint Freya was in there.
Oh,
among the
word.
bosses. Yeah, so Dark Souls 2 confirmed, baby.
I love that.
Cool.
I am very excited for that game. It's slop, but it's the exact kind of slop that I want it to be, which is like, no, we don't want to give... I guess we can talk about it a bit because it was announced at the CGAs or whatever. Did we talk? Well, we talked about it on stream, whatever. Yeah. But the thing about that game is that like it's very nakedly we want to cultivate some more directorial talent at FromSoft, and so we're giving people projects for their first directorial project, and because it's like we want that to be something that is going to take no resources to make, ideally. We want it to not cost a ton to make, not take a ton of time to make, so that, success or failure, it won't like endanger us at all. And as a result, they'll just go, we're gonna make a 3-player Dark Souls extraction roguelike, where we just put in shit from all the games into it. And I'm like, great, perfect.
Great.
That's all I ever wanted.
It's Fromslop.
That new other option for the episode title, Fromslop.
It's from
Yeah.
Slop. Yeah.
Fromslop.
They're gonna think that I'm gonna have mean things to say about Fromslop, and they're gonna get to me like, no, I'm very excited for Fromslop. I'm gonna gobble it up.
Yum,
like a
yum,
little piggy.
yum.
I'm on a roll tonight. I've come up with 3 different titles for the fucking episode.
You've been gone for so long, it's like built up in your system.
Yeah.
Oh no. Is it terminal? I think I might have an
Unfortunately, it's
illness.
fatal.
2 years of podcast titles flowed out of Oatsy endlessly.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Okay, one more article, and then we've got the biggin.
Okay.
Live and Learn musician suing Sega over ownership of iconic Sonic the Hedgehog song.
Only the lyrics.
Only the lyrics.
Only the
Yeah,
lyrics.
well,
Apparently, the singer for Live and Learn did not quite understand how many times they were using Live and Learn.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would also sue in that case.
Which is weird because he's also like, he is a credited music director for many of those titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he did work for Sega after Sonic Adventure 2.
And here's the thing. And this is, I think, the cynical thing, which is this coming up because it was in one of those movies that cost like $100 million, $200 million?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, and not to say, like, I don't empathize, because I do. And, like, he should be getting that bag because they put his song in a movie that costs $1 billion. But that's also why this is coming up, which is he knew how often they were using it. It's just that he was like, hey, you put this in this $200 million whatever movie. I would like a cut because that's a significant amount of work that I did for you for this thing that's going to be generating tons of revenue and, like, it is important to think and getting a no in return.
Yeah.
So
Now the article here states that his lawyers are alleging that he only found out about the song's widespread use in 2024.
I don't
So
believe
his
I don't
lawyers
believe
are claiming that. I don't believe it, but that's what his lawyers are actually
Sure.
stating is true.
But I do think he should get paid. So
Yes,
it's
he
fine.
should get paid, obviously. But
this should be my expectation is that this never goes to court, and he quietly receives a check for some 5 or 6 digit amount of money, and then it never comes up again.
That's correct.
in fact, the article says that Giole's lawyers say damages for the breach of contract could be more than $500,000. Restitution for the unpaid loyalties is listed at another $500,000 or more.
Oh yeah, no, they'll. That's chump change.
Yeah, they
almost
can
certainly will
give
him
him that, and then
after a
it's
little
over.
bit of
They,
back and
they will
forth.
very clearly like talk it out of court, which is kind of what he was more or less saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Absolutely.
comes-
He was
This
just like,
thing-
I just want to come to an understanding and an agreement.
Yeah.
That's beneficial to both parties.
Yeah, this is like being a thing that is reported on the press, and the lawyers giving interviews about it is very like, we don't actually want this to go to court. We want to make a big stink so that Sega pays us and gets it over with. Like it's a bit cynical on the read, and like makes it sound like he's being scummy, which like a little
little
he
bit.
deserves to get that back.
Yeah.
Because the difference between him and Sega is that he's a guy, and that Sega is a multi
And also-
conglomerate.
Like, yeah, he's just going, hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
What the hell? I thought we were
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, yeah, if he's not earning, like, and I mean, there is a certain degree of just, like, you use the lyrics to this song for a Hollywood movie, that's different than using it for a little video game. I don't
Right.
care that it's a Sonic video game, there's a difference, right?
You're clear, like, there's a difference between, like,
Mhm.
hey, we're using the recording from Sonic Adventure 2 as a background track in Smash Brothers,
Mhm.
which even the Smash Bros. Version doesn't even have the lyrics in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this
Like-
one is like, well, we're using a re-recorded version of the song for the movie
Mhm.
is different.
And
like-
obviously, Sega deployed Live and Learn in that trailer because they knew people would pop the fuck off about it, which
Yeah.
they did. So, yeah, you should get paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like this is also like in conversation with the thing that happened with the Mario Brothers movie like a year or two ago, or whenever that came out, where it's like, oh, here's the DK64 rap by the people who made DK6. It's from the video game Donkey Kong 64. Don't
Right.
worry about who made it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and it's not like they had some falling out with Grant Kirkhope. It's just they didn't want to put his
Yeah.
fucking name in the credits.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, I think this guy should sue them, and I hope he gets paid.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an easy win for both parties.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I'm
write
also going
write
to-
the check. You won't even notice it's gone, and then you're good.
I'm also going to say, assuming that he didn't, Grant Kirkhope should also get that bag from being snubbed for the use of the Donkey Kong rap in that Mario movie.
Yes, he should
get that
obviously.
bag.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I think Grant Kirkhope would also like to people to not talk about the DK rap around him anymore.
Yeah, but like he should get that bag.
He should get
Yeah.
that bag, but also like
I'm
he does
sure
not
he's
want to
sick
be
death of it, but it's fine.
he does not want to be known as the DK rap guy anymore. Please, did you see the thing when Ukulele was coming out? They had the stretch goals for the Kickstarter. One of them was we'll get Grant Kirkhope to write a DK rap for Ukulele, and Grant Kirkhope went on Twitter and said, "I didn't agree to that."
That's correct.
That's great.
I always just think about whenever H Bomber guy was doing that like insane DK64 marathon stream for trans charity, and he actually got Grant Kirkhope to come on, and they talked about how he did the DK voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Trans rights.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big one.
This
The
was
big one.
this was a good show.
I fully went into the Game Awards expecting just slop, like how bored and miserable we were last year. And
Yeah.
just, like, you know, all of the shit that came out, like none of that looked good and nothing to get excited about and all of the usual whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, but it was like, Ben wants to watch the Game Awards. I'm not doing anything that night. He's going to be streaming it anyways, and I'll watch the stream because I want to support the channel. So I might as well just fucking tune in to the Game Awards. And I'm glad I did because the Game Awards were really fucking good this year.
Yeah.
Everybody who should have won something. So not Silent Hill 2 or Erdtree.
Yeah, and
right?
conversely, everyone who shouldn't have won didn't win anything.
Yeah, it worked out pretty great, actually. We had a ton of great speeches. We had, we got to see Harrison Ford be confused and bored.
Yeah. Well, it was like a pretty even split between Balatro, Astrobot, and Metaphor. Like all gained like approximately the same number of awards, so that was cool, right? Like basically exactly what you would want, right?
Yeah.
2 of the 3 being developed by Asian companies. 3 of the 3 not being photorealistic in the slightest.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Funny how that works.
Wow,
Unreal
isn't
Engine
that-
5.
Isn't that surprising that like people like it when your game is creative?
Crazy.
Anyway, we also had a bunch of pretty cool reveals. Let's go down the list. We had Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound.
That's the Blasphemous developers.
Yeah.
And it looks very gorgeous. I don't know
Looks
if it's
very
anything for me, but it's very pretty to look at.
Mm-hmm. We had Slay the Spire 2,
Cool.
which got shown off.
Sensible.
Yeah. What else? We saw Shadow Labyrinth,
Quote-unquote Shadow Labyrinth.
which was the game that's based off of the Pac-Man episode of Secret Level.
It looks like shit.
That looks
like shit.
terrible.
Yeah, no, it looks like shit.
I don't remember this one.
Good.
I repressed it from my memory.
That's fine.
That was smart.
If you want to play a Metroidvania with Shadow in the title, it's better consider the 2000 and something Xbox Live indie game hit Shadow Complex. That game's pretty fun.
Yeah. We saw Steel Paws, which is a game we kind of got excited for, but then it turned out to be a Netflix game. It had the anime girl with the cat ears and the robots.
Oh right,
The Pippi game.
And now I gotta be clear. I wasn't that excited for it because there was no actual gameplay, and also it is directed by known grifter Yu Suzuki.
Yeah, so no thank you.
We saw. I'm just going down the list here. We saw Rematch, which was the Sifu devs football game.
It's very okay.
Yeah, it looks like a football game. I kept the entire trailer waiting for a twist.
Right? Like,
but it's just a good-looking football game.
The twist apparently is that they're making a game that can compete with FIFA.
I hope that Jeff Keighley continues the grand tradition of senselessly nominating it for Best Fighting Game.
Please. Oh my god, please. We saw the cinematic reveal for Witcher 4.
Yeah, that's the big one. That was
That's
like the first
one of the big
one
ones,
of the
yeah.
night. Was Witcher 4. I mean, there was no gameplay. It was classic CD Projekt Red fucking cinematic trailer. None of that shit's gonna be in the video game that finally comes out in 6 years or however long it takes.
Yeah, they're like, here's a trailer. You'll be grateful if it comes out in the same calendar decade.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get to see it at some point in our human lives before the collapse of society. Who knows?
It stars Ciri, which makes sense.
Sure.
Like, if you're not going to create a character, then it's Ciri.
Yeah, of
She
course.
has apparently been recast, which makes sense because it's been 10 years since the last game.
That's correct.
And people are busy and maybe don't want to necessarily come back for all that hootenanny.
And also, like, her character appears to have very visibly aged. So,
Yeah. Then we saw Night Rain. We talked about that a little earlier.
Elden
Yes,
Ring
the
DLC.
Ring DLC, Night Rain.
The Fromslop.
Yeah,
Fromslop.
which we had a hard time deciphering at first. We were like, is this new Souls?
Oh, and then
Yeah,
the Grace showed up, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a Souls. It is actual Souls.
And then it turns out that no, it's Elden Ring, but they're just throwing in all the junk from the other games.
It's just very confusing seeing all of the different Soulsian stuff and me going like, it's got to still be Elden Ring though, because I saw the Graces, so it's. But that
But it makes no sense.
But But then that's
cognitive dissonance as a video game is extremely funny to me. Yeah.
Well, it's very funny because like it's not the first time they've done this. Like, well, like that's not the first time they've done like the Fromslop, just put it all in their thing. Because like the last DLC for Dark Souls 3 is basically you going through like kind of a greatest hits of a bunch of like shit from older Dark Souls games. But the thing is with that is that isn't a thing where Dark Souls, well, all the Dark Souls games don't have like a direct connection. There's an understanding that they are like all parts, like they are all like stages in the not the stages in the loop, but like they are all built on top of each other like layer cake. That somewhere under, and quite literally, somewhere under Dark Souls 3, under however many feet of bedrock and dirt, is Dark Souls 2 collapsed and like crushed by the weight of the game on top of it. And this goes down forever, right? So like, there's a textual thing of like, yeah, all these things are built on each other because this cycle of beginning new life and and like living and dying and forgetting and making new things and referencing old things and so doing continues forever. Elden Ring, who knows?
Yeah.
Elden Ring, importantly, zero obvious connections to any of the Dark Souls games in any way, aside from just like there being stuff in it that Miyazaki likes to put in those games.
Right.
They should have at some point shown a character picking up a gun and being like, we're putting Bloodborne stuff in it too.
Then
that would be so fucking sick.
We know that of the playable cast, because it's a hero selection game, you don't do builds. There's like 8 characters in it. You don't know that there isn't one who's using Bloodborne guns.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I don't think there's any Bloodborne guns in Elden Ring, but it's a world with cannons. So, like, someone could have a gun.
Yeah.
You know.
They got those assets lying around.
Waste not, want not.
Anything's possible.
What if Sekiro shows up in it?
Every part of the buffalo.
What? I mean, Oats, it could, you could just put John Sekiro.
Yeah, you could just put him in.
Because they put in a mode in Shadow of the Erdtree where you can do an item that just switches you to Sekiro's version of the like stagger mechanic for 5 minutes instead of Elden Ring's. They already put it. They already put Sekiro. They already put the game of Sekiro in there. You may as well put the rest of the animal.
Wait, so there's a mode in Sekiro, like the mode in Infinite Wealth, where Kiryu can just break out of the turn-based.
Not in Sekiro, but in Elden Ring.
In Elden Ring, I mean, that's what it is. Like you can just you can just play Sekiro for a few minutes.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. Next, Rebirth coming to PC in January.
Wow.
Which is quick.
Can't wait to play that. The biggest thing though, like, yeah, Rebirth, cool. Who cares? The Epic is paying Fumito Ueda to make another game.
That's great.
Like, Epic is paying the fucking Eco and Shadow of the Colossus guy to make another video game. I don't know what it's about. It looks like there's a robot involved. I mean, it's called Project Robot, so I would assume so. There's no gameplay or anything, but listen, it's the guy who made Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. Who cares? Somebody fumbled that bag. We saw
the fucking Epic Games Publishing, and we're like, oh, whatever this is gonna be. And then we saw from the creator of ICO, and we're like, they're gonna show other letters, right?
A word?
And then they're like,
thinking like they were gonna spell out like icon or something.
Yeah.
No, they spelled Eco and then Shadow of the Colossus, and literally like you could like hear everybody sitting up on like record, like, hello?
Mm-hmm.
I am absolutely through the roof for this because I can't overstate how like talking about how dirty Sony did Ueda like makes my blood boil.
Right.
He sold that PlayStation 2 for them twice.
Yeah.
Right? Like the whole reason Sony is anything at all as like a force in the industry could at least in part be traced back to Shadow of the Colossus and slightly lesser Eco. But like Shadow of the Colossus especially is possibly one of the most important video games ever made. There's like a handful of others that like firmly cemented Sony's like dominance in the console space, right? Like, 'cause the PS1 was successful, but the PlayStation 2 is the most successful console of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in part, that is because games like Shadow of the Colossus were on it and could be made easily and cheaply, right?
Right.
And, like, the fact that after all those years, you know, they let him make his last Guardian game, and it was fine by all accounts. It sold fine. But, like, to then just basically shutter that entire team and tell them to, like, kick rocks and, like, let some of the team exist as Asobi to make Astrobot, a game that is fine, but full to the brim with references to things like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus and The Last Guardian, is galling and just, like, horrible, right? It just makes your skin crawl because it's so, like, indicative of how Sony just doesn't make games anymore. And yeah, I think it kicks ass that Ueda finally gets to make another video game and just give Sony the finger, essentially, right?
Yeah, talking about how important, like, Ueda's oeuvre is, and, like, how important specifically Shadow of the Colossus is for games, is a thing that made me just, like, finally, like, realize, like, other, like, more recent, one of the most important video games of all time, Breath of the Wild is just nakedly a Shadow of the Colossus ripoff, isn't it?
True.
Is nakedly a Shadow of the Colossus and, to a certain extent, Eco ripoff, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, especially Eco, because Eco is a game about, like, that same kind of aesthetic of, like, hewn stone and more, like, hand-painted, I don't want to say tribal, but my brain is not, like, creating a better word than tribal, but, like, that kind of hand-painted, I guess, nomadic kind of visual
Nomadic is a good
style,
word.
right? Like, and all of the dungeons are made of kind of this similar material, and they're all very kind of physicsy, logics-based puzzling, right?
Right.
And then they turned those into colossi that you have to, you know, sometimes climb and, like, hit their weak points in order to defeat them.
And, like, all of the shit that's in Eco and Shadow of the Colossus is explicitly in Breath of the Wild, right? Like, that's, like, the lineage there is really, really blatant. And again, I mean, it just makes that, like, Ueda is, like, way more of an influential game designer than a lot of people, I think, give him credit. Just because of, I mean, just because of what Shadow of the Colossus alone did to the entire industry, right? The influences are less stated, but they're definitely there. They're all over the place. That's
also,
the thing.
I would say Fumito Ueda is probably, like, on the top of the leaderboard for proportion of impact relative to amount of shit he actually put out as a director.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he has only directed 3 games, and they are Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian.
Right.
Like, that's it.
That's it. And they are all, like, to one extent or another, pretty fucking influential. And, again, it's incredible that Sony fumbled that bag so hard, but I'm glad that at least he's getting paid from somebody to make a game that very obviously just looks like one of his games, right?
Yeah.
So,
now,
good for him.
Now, Sony's logo is on this trailer, and it's on Sony's website, or on Sony's YouTube page, but it's Epic Games is footing the bill.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, apparently Epic Games, being the sole funder of this thing, was announced, like, fucking 4 years ago, apparently.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently in March
Completely
2020, Epic Games announced they would be fully funding development, with the 2 companies, them being Epic and Gen, splitting the profits in half.
We probably saw that and went, okay, well, that game's never coming out then.
Yeah, probably.
And then promptly forgot.
Yeah, probably.
Almost
and again,
certainly.
like, it was actually closer to 5, because this is early 2020. And, like, he's been working on, apparently the game has been in prototyping stage since 2018.
Wow.
So this thing's been cooking for quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. We, right before that, or right after I think it was, we saw Catly, which is probably AI.
It's just AI slop. No, it's literally just like it's a company that has a bunch of other slop AI crypto video games. It's literally nothing worse like commenting on.
Catly is a cryptocurrency, and the producer is like a marketing exec and blocks you if you mention AI on his Twitter.
And then also very importantly, the only funny thing about it is that we were watching the trailer and it looked like shit. And Saturn looked at it and went, "This looks like AI, but I mean, the character models are too consistent." And the answer is, yeah, it's because the characters themselves were almost certainly designed by AI, but like the models were made probably by a person, but like
hopefully.
Yeah.
But the designs were absolutely done by AI.
Yeah.
So it's really funny that Felicia Day is promoting this shit. But
yeah.
Felicia Day, one of those, she joins Shaquille O'Neal and Snoop Dogg in the cadre of celebrities who will basically sponsor anything as long as the check arrives on time.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I will say Catly is one of I would my opinion on the Game Awards this year, broadly positive. I would say it is one of the two things that I just went Jeff, come on, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You just because they can afford a trailer spot at your show doesn't mean you have to give it to them.
This and then also the 10-cent sicko getting a
like a 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that is the other one. And here's the thing that was reminded me later that the thing that pissed me off about this. The last 2-something years or whatever, he's been doing Game Changers College or whatever, where they're highlighting, up and coming game devs who make a difference and trying to get out there and get people involved. And they cut that to make room to do a fucking fluff piece for this 10-cent exec.
Yeah.
And it's I love Jeff. We'll get into why later that I know in his heart of hearts he's a real one. But you can feel any ounce of journalistic credibility that he has straining under the weight of the fact that it is companies like Tencent who pay for this whole fucking debacle.
Yeah. Joseph Fares burst onto stage, like he usually does,
to show the same fucking game he's making every single time. The man only has one idea.
When it was revealed that he has twin daughters, suddenly it made sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a bold suggestion. We have never seen the It Takes Two guy and Hideo Kojima on stage at the same time.
What do you think he's doing, a fucking quick change like he's fucking Roger from American Dad?
Well, because here's the thing, if you think about it, he's also clearly Jeff Keighley's best friend who only knows how to make the one video game and keeps showing up every year in spite of having nothing of interest to actually show off.
No, I don't think he's Jeff's friend. I don't think Jeff thinks him as a friend. I think Joseph thinks he's Jeff's friend.
Oh, I don't think Kojima thinks Jeff is his friend, so it's fine.
That's what Statler and Waldorf told us.
Exactly, and I think there's an Umineko thing happening here. I think without love, it cannot be seen. Is all I'm saying.
We're gonna have to rewatch the show to see if at any point during Joseph Ferris's big thing, the camera cut to Kojima in the audience at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it did. Because I don't think if they are, well, even if they are different people, which I know it's hard to believe that they might be two separate human beings. I don't think Jeff's camera people are cruel enough to capture Hideo Kojima's complete disinterest in that moment.
No, yeah, I don't think anything that Joseph Fares is making, one could capture anybody's interest, but two could especially capture Hideo Kojima's interest.
Yeah,
that game looked like nothing. So it's fine. My man only has the one idea. And the best one was the first one, so,
Just very, very funny that you see he has twin daughters. You're like, oh, all of his games make sense now. He will have no fighting over the controller in his house.
He has no choice.
It's like the origin story you'd give to a fictional game developer.
Right? Yeah.
That dude is, I think, one of the more, cartoon character who got transmogrified into a real human boy people I think I've ever encountered.
He is the Pinocchio of video games.
Yeah, exactly.
The Lies of P was an autobiography about him.
Crazy what he did to all those like cool robots and weird
Yeah.
monsters. I respect him a lot more now knowing that.
Speaking of cool robots, the World of Tanks devs are making a robot game,
Cool.
which
Really?
we saw that looked
Okay.
pretty cool. Yeah, we for a brief moment we were like, is it reactivate?
No.
It was not.
No, that
Reactivate.
game's dead. I have, on one hand, it's like that particular mech aesthetic doesn't really do much for me, but on the other hand, it's good to know that we have mech games being made by companies that can make and support those kinds of games instead of not.
It's also great that the World of Tanks devs are making a game that will not get them in trouble with the U.S. government.
That's
Yet.
correct.
Yeah.
It's like, well, certainly they can't sue us over our giant robot game. Wait a minute.
We just got a cease and desist from Japan.
We just got a cease and desist from Space Force, a thing that has happened to no one before this moment.
Wait, what do you mean they revealed government secrets about their giant robot project? Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We saw a trailer for Black Frost The Long Dark 2, which tricked... I've watched a few reaction videos, and everyone I've seen has also gotten tricked by, oh, is it The Long Dark 2? Black Frost. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, wait, no, it is The Long Dark 2.
Yeah.
The people I've seen who are familiar with Long Dark are reacting to this in a very funny way. This is apparently a Girls Frontline 2 situation, where
yeah,
the
the first
Long
game
Dark
isn't
1
done.
is not done yet.
Yeah, no, the Long Dark one is not done yet. Like, it needs to be said. That's why this was very weird. Like, the Long Dark one is still under active development. They're still not done with, like, all the story shit they said they were going to add to that game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
no.
great. I love that level of arrogance.
For comparison, since I brought it up and I forget if I mentioned it on air or not, the thing with Girls Frontline 2 is that it's a sequel to a plot that has not happened in Girls Frontline 1 yet in either of the servers. This game has been out in China for over a year. The plot stuff it is referencing has not happened in Girls Frontline 1 yet.
Spectacular. I love that.
You know.
I love that.
Video games are funny.
Can't wait to see how that'll turn out.
I was going to say, could you imagine if a TV show did this? And I remember we spent a bunch of this podcast talking about old Trek.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fine.
Randy Pitchford slopped his way on stage.
Every now
contender
and then, the Game Awards almost tricks me into thinking it has any degree, like the faintest veneer of respectability. And then they let Randy Pitchford on the stage, looking exactly as greasy as the name Randy Pitchford.
You
should
forget.
invoke.
You forget that it's not an exaggeration.
No, he's so, like, there's a reason Civvy calls him greasy all of the time.
Yeah.
It's because he's the human, he's like a gijinka of a grease trap at the local McDonald's. Like, what the fuck? It's awful. I hate him.
He has the look of a man, especially in that horror. This is, to briefly sidetrack for myself, that is a man where he is, I think, we wanted to do a Gorgies category that was worst dressed of the VGAs, and unfortunately, like, the winner is so obvious, there's no point. Like, it's just him and the Tencent exec in that pile, and, like, he wins. Like, I'm sorry, he just wins.
I'm sorry.
Looks like a man whose post-show plans are being found in a Las Vegas coroner's office.
He looks... this year is the year I realized he looks like a Klasky Scupo character.
Yeah.
He does. He looks like he got pulled straight out of the Rugrats.
Yeah, like, or
He
Our Real
looks like-
Monsters.
He looks like John Kay could draw him, and you'd think it was just a photo.
Yeah.
He's just so, like, reprehensible to look at. I really don't like Randy Pitchford. I've beefed with that man before. I don't like him. I never will. I hate him to literal death. And him being involved at all means I'll never play a Borderlands game.
Yep.
So, he was there to release Borderlands, or to announce
Yeah.
Borderlands 4, by the way.
The way it says it, release sound like, in context, makes it sound like releasing like a cloud of toxic gas.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
he
that's exactly what it
probably
is,
was
though.
as he walked through the audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, absolutely. Like,
I do.
He's got little cartoon fart clouds around him, like Linus, but stinkier.
No, you mean Pigpen.
Thank you. That one, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Pigpen's
it's
just
not
dust.
from the show itself, but I did like that afterward. There was some interview someone did with the creative director for Borderlands 4, right? And like he was just talking about like what to expect from that game, and like they were talking about like the Borderlands humor, and he's like, yeah, I mean, we're gonna be trying to dial back on like the fucking toilet humor or whatever. I saw Paul Tassi, who's like a Forbes contributor who does lots of like blogging about fucking these kinds of games, right? I saw Paul Tassi make a joke that they were going to put in a gun called Hawk 2A, and I had one of my devs ask me if that was real, and I wanted to stick my hand down the sink garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are actually funny, though, is the funniest thing happened for Tekken, which is they're putting Clive Rossfield in Tekken.
Did you see, by the way, Clive's second player palette swap is specifically its colorway is set up such that it's supposed to look like Meteor in the post Endwalker outfit.
Really?
That's funny.
cute.
That's cool.
Cute.
No, best choice. Like, I would have liked Tifa more, but Clive is the better choice.
Clive is the correct choice.
Clive is the funnier choice because he's
Yeah.
so Tifa looks like a Tekken character, right? Like Tifa, you could take Tifa and just like remake Tifa, especially just take that character model and stick her in a lineup next to like fucking Jin Kazama and Reina and all them.
Mm-hmm.
She just looked like a Tekken character. She just looked like she belongs. Like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Clive, absolutely not. Does not match that aesthetic one ding dong bit, and that's why it is perfect, my friends. Like, his stage is the fucking Ifrit fiery kind of generic zone, right?
Right.
It owns it. His victory is him petting Torgal, which is great. Yeah, no, it's really funny.
Did you see?
It's the perfect option.
It's very Tekken to go. Tifa is the objectively correct choice by every metric. She looks the part. Everybody wants her. She'd move fucking units. She'd trick idiots like me into buying that game. And like she's a mixed martial artist. Like she's a perfect fit for Tekken. Clive is from a game that no one particularly liked that much. Does not fit in with the aesthetic at all. Is another sword guy who all the Tekken old heads hate, and is the one they picked because that makes him objectively the funniest character to be the Tekken crossover.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
I hope Clive's legacy is he becomes the new Geralt, where that man is just falling into portals.
The Geralt of our video game generation.
Honestly, it is kind of stunning that Geralt has never been in Final Fantasy XIV, but I guess that's the job that Clive was doing for him in FF14.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hope Clive just gets to be in fucking everything in the exact same way, right?
Yeah.
Like, put him in Call of Duty. I think it'd be really funny.
Give Clive a gun.
Give Clive a gun. Put him in Fortnite.
The PS5 era is just Clive crossovers with everything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them putting Geralt in FF14 and they just have like this Highlander hero with this horrible ponytail?
Yes.
I think that sounds.
Oh, that makes me so happy to think about.
Geralt and Ciri in fucking FF14 for a crossover event. Yoshi P would do. If you suggested it to Yoshi P, I think he would stop dead at a Q&A and be like,
"Get Poland on the line."
Be like, "We gotta call Poland right now. That's a great idea."
He's in Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
They should have just done it.
He's in fucking Damon X Machina.
They put him in that. What?
How? It's a robot game.
I don't know.
I played that game. I don't remember him. What the hell?
Wait. Yeah, hold on. No.
You're right.
Here's the thing. I believe you. I'm just shocked I never ran into him.
No, they totally put that MF in that
Oh
game.
my
yeah.
god. Him and
no,
Siri.
it's
Wow,
hilarious.
that's amazing.
They put him in Siri, yeah.
Did
And
they
I mean,
just-
they're both in fucking Fortnite. Like,
Did they just add him after I stopped playing or something?
yeah, it was like weird, like really late DLC, Saturn.
They're insane.
Yeah, they're insane. It rules. I mean, yeah, no. I'm saying put Clive in insane combos like that too.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
They should put Clive transforming into that big kaiju as a fight you can do in Armored Core 6.
yes, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely.
I
Great
think
idea.
it's with Reyna, but he has a pre-intro battle quote with a female character in Tekken. I don't remember which one, but where she mentions that she thinks his outfit is cool cosplay, and you get to hear Ben Starr go, "What the hell is cosplay?"
Great.
Speaking of fighting games, RGG Studios
Virtual
is
Fighter,
just
baby.
making Virtual Fighter 6.
Just
Insane.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh.
What an amazing trailer.
so good.
It's very funny to get a return to Virtua Fighter in the era of, like, big fighting games going, no, but we do need to have, like, a casual option because, like, players nowadays who don't have the arcade background aren't doing, like, the fucking insane quarter circle inputs. And then just go, no, it's Virtua Fighter's time. The
Virtua
sickos
Fighter.
need us.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
The
need a
sickos crave the joystick.
I think Pat on the latest episode of Castle Beast mentioned that like the Virtua Fighter subreddit has jumped up to 6,500 people.
That's it. I'll say every single one of those sickos
They-
by that game.
There are dozens of us, dozens.
The only thing, I mean, I know that Pat apparently cried when they announced Virtua Fighter. If
I believe
you told
that.
me that Pat didn't cry at the birth of his child, but did cry at the announcement for Virtua Fighter, I would believe you, right?
I think it's
Whatever,
just
yeah.
probably objectively true.
I think
Probably
that's
true, yeah.
I think the reason we have not learned what Pat's child's name is because the child's name is Virtua Fighter.
Now hold on. That might let him cook. Let him cook.
Good old Virtua Fighter Boivin.
Like it would be great if he's like, yeah. So my kid's name is Virtua Fighter. I named him that because I hope that by naming my child Virtua Fighter, it would give birth to another Virtua Fighter game, and I was right.
Like there was the fucking domino meme, like the bigger domino meme, where it was two nerds LP Yakuza 4 on their YouTube channel, and then Virtua Fighter 6 gets announced.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell you guys, but actually because I didn't think it would be relevant so fast. But Paige is actually pregnant again already with a second child, and we had already agreed we were naming it Okami Boivin.
And then while we were reeling from RGG Studios making Virtua Fighter 6, they're like, hey, here's another trailer of this guy walking around a 1915 Japan, and we're like,
Taisho Yakuza. Here's the thing. I don't care about Yakuza games. I don't care one bit. They showed me a fucking Taisho era Yakuza game, and I thought I was gonna jump out of my skin. It looks so goddamn good.
like Oats,
Yeah, you'll be there.
Oats and I are
Fighter
watching
Hop.
this, and we're both just like, hey, this kind of looks like a Yakuza. That's kind of cool. I'm interested in this. And then we just see RGG Studio.
It's just like, oh, they did the RGG Power Hour, and they show off Project Sentry, and it's just a game made in a lab to trick idiots like me into finally playing one.
I know in my heart of hearts, Sarah, that you would enjoy the gameplay because I know you love Devil May Cry 5.
I know.
That's all I need to know.
Mhm.
It's so over for me. I'm gonna go full sicko mode. I'm gonna get tricked into liking Yakuza after this. It sucks. I'm so mad it's that easy.
I'm so like,
It's okay. It's okay, Sarah, because I promise you the gameplay over time gets better. The older stuff is so clunky that it makes Devil May Cry 2
Look good.
look like Devil May Cry 3.
I see.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the secret. You can just play the good one that's new that you like, and since you'll be done with Star Trek by that point, you can just watch cutscene compilations of the Yakuza games instead.
Saturn and I need to do another what the hell is, but it's for Yakuza.
What the hell is Kamurocho?
I gotta start. Unlike Death Stranding, which is like a 50 to 60 hour game that if you condense it to just the cutscenes and like plot stuff is like 6 to 12 hours, depending whether you're doing optional stuff. The Yakuza series is a game where it's like, oh good, I'm going to watch a cutscene compilation of all of Yakuza. What do you mean this is like a 45-hour long video?
Yeah. It's like the Yakuza games are a lot like Metal Gear Solid 4, but with less oscillation.
Yeah.
It
But
oscillates.
just as much homosexuality.
So less oscillation and more oscillation.
Ah!
Yeah. It does the thing where it is constantly, like, scene to scene, ping-ponging back and forth between, this is kind of a boring 5 out of 10 to, yo, what the hell? This is a 10 out of 10, easy. Ooh, this is fun.
Some of the best moments in Yakuza are just when, like, a guy in a business suit is, like, standing in an office and he's just, like, talking at the main character, and it's just like...
And not doing anything else, just like Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
It's really great.
They don't even do the Fate thing where the two characters will just be walking in a circle around each other.
Yeah.
And then that cutscene, they'll say a line and you'll sit up in your chair like, wait, what the fuck? It's great. I'm so
Yeah, all they ever have to say anytime is Korea, and you sit up straight like, no,
Wait, what?
They did, you son of a bitch.
No, Project Century looks so fucking good. I'm so
It looks
fucking
so
excited.
fucking
I'm so
good, though.
glad.
I mean, it's set, and there's not enough shit set in Taisho era Japan. There's a reason fucking Demon Slayer popped off as hard as it did. It's because Taisho era Japan is just aesthetically the coolest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that pisses me off about Demon Slayer is you know what they do with it being set in Taisho or Japan?
Fucking nothing.
Fucking nothing. It's mostly set in rural areas where it's still indistinguishable from fucking Tokugawa era Japan.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know it was in Taisho era Japan. I thought it was like fucking Tokugawa era. Like,
here's the thing. It's in Taisho era for 2 reasons. One, they have to rip off Phantom Blood more directly, and so you have to have a Dio who looks like Dio. 2, you have to be able to have a train. That's it.
That's it.
great.
That's
I
the only.
I knew
like,
about the train. I knew there was a train involved, so that's how I knew it was Taisho.
If not for the fact that that author apparently seemingly really wanted to have a cool train bit, there is absolutely no reason it needed to be Taisho era. It's mostly just fucking rural samurai shit that has like no bearing on any like
So
contemporary
fucked
culture
up.
whatsoever.
It's so fucked up.
I'm so glad that we're getting this that looks like a very grounded, brutal story set in this era. You know, we haven't seen any. It's just an initial trailer, but like we haven't seen anything like wacky. They didn't showcase any like mini games that this main character will be going through, right?
Right.
The first thing you see is this dude get fucking jumped and beat the tar out of.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of scenes of him using violent weaponry and killing people.
We're getting Virtua Fighter 6, which Virtua Fighter is infamously a very grounded, no-nonsense fighting game, right?
Yeah.
And then in February, we're getting Majima's Wacky Amnesia Pirate Adventures.
Yay!
I can't believe we're finally getting a Gaiden game for him. And it is just him going, you know what? Screw all pretenses. I'm just going to do a wacky comedy by myself. I'm done. Kiryu's gone. There's nothing left for me here. I'm off. I'm going to do a cartoon fucking adventure. I'm gonna go find One-Eyed Willy and like recreate the plot of the Goonies.
I hope when that game comes out and like people know what all happens in it, I hope his amnesia is never solved and he's just remains a pirate for the rest of his life.
I think it'd be that would honestly be a happier ending for him than him getting his memory back.
Yeah, probably. They're bringing Turok
This is
back.
gonna be a 3-hour episode. Oh god.
They're bringing Turok back.
I knew the second we were going to talk about the Game Awards rather than just watch the fucking stream. This is gonna be 3 hours.
That's fine. Hey, I'm happy with it.
It's really weird in like the era of the resurgent boomer shooter.
Right.
that Turok is coming back as not a boomer shooter.
Yeah, it's the third person multiplayer thing.
It's very silly. It's going to flop harder
Yeah.
than anything has ever flopped because it's not a dinosaur boomer shooter, right?
Right.
Like, that's the obvious answer, is to just make Doom 2016 again, but you're killing dinosaurs, like crazy zombie dinosaurs or something, if you want to get kind of crazy with it.
Yeah, that would go off. That would go hard.
That would
Yeah.
fuck off. Yeah, absolutely. But instead they're doing like a weird multiplayer thing. No, it's so dead. It's never been more dead on arrival. I'm sorry.
You should ask them how it is fucking that Capcom one did.
Yeah.
Remember that one whose
Game
name I
nobody
can't even
remembers?
call to memory?
The not Dino Crisis?
Exo something?
Exoprimal.
Took me that long to remember its name. I'm sure that game's doing just great, you fucking morons.
You should bring back Turok and make it Turok.
Ben, for the sake of expediency and because nobody cares about some of this stuff, I'm skipping to the next most exciting thing, which is they're making another fucking Onimusha.
Yeah, they are. That's what I was skipping to next. So don't worry, I'm also skipping things now.
Thank God.
Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming out. This is a fun trailer where I'm just like, oh hey, what is it? Is it Neo? Is it some new like Souls like samurai thing? And I'm like,
they're showing like Japanese stuff. You know, it's kind of.
I rewatched some of the Gigaboots coverage after we did this, and it's very because I just wanted to hear what their reactions to it were. But it was very funny because they have played through the Onimusha games recently. The instant those little glowing red orbs showed up on screen, they're like, "Oh fuck, it's Onimusha!" Oh
like,
fuck!
I saw those and my brain preemptively protected myself from thinking it was Onimusha. And I was like, "Oh, spirits, just like general spirits." And then even when you saw the gauntlet sucking them in, I'm like, "Okay, so no, it's not. It can't." Actually, it can't really be Oni. Oh my god, it's Onimusha. This is actually Onimusha.
It's actually another Onimusha game.
Everyone, when you're done listening to this podcast, actually, you know what? Go pause it right now and go watch the intro to Onimusha 3 again.
That's correct.
Now, I have no ulterior motive suggesting this.
Leaves the podcast.
I have no ulterior motive suggesting this, but I know in at least one of the Onimusha games, the big bad is Oda Nobunaga.
Yeah, well, that's the primary villain of like the game franchise, I think.
Yeah, and so I have no ulterior motive suggesting this, but maybe as like a way to like make a ton of money off of rubes, especially your domestic Japanese market, you should have a crossover with One Type Moon. Who have a Nobunaga who's a little peculiar.
It's a little.
Now the funny
funky
thing is I don't think this is Samanosuke.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen him.
You know, actually, it would be appropriate for those two things to cross over because what they both have in common is the degree to which they rip off that one movie about bringing back all the dead people from the Shimabara Rebellion as Satan zombies.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. Yeah.
No, I'm so fucking excited. Oh my god, it's a new Onimusha game. It looks so good.
Yeah, and it looks extremely good. I mean, of course, it's an Onimusha game being made in the extremely sick-ass Resident Evil. I mean, fucking Capcom just is popping off. Like, they're fully in their redemption arc, right?
They are crushing it, especially this show, because, like, I think the next big important thing that happened is Okami sequel.
So this is why I'm like, I know in his heart of hearts, Jeff is a real one. Because much like Pat, the way we describe Pat, like, you know, he cried at the Virtual Fighter reveal and may or may not have actually cried at the birth of his son. For all the times Jeff has announced the incredible products of his projects of his dear friend Hideo Kojima, he's been very excited, you know, in like the way you are to like hype up your best friend who's making some cool shit, right? He was tearing
He
up.
was like
Teasing what was
verge.
about to be revealed, like his lifelong dream was finally being realized that he had long since given up on.
Right.
This is one of those things that took everyone by surprise. Every reaction I watched was just like, you know, it's like, oh, is it Ghost of Yote trailer? Is it what?
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like it's another Yote trailer, which is like, why is Jeff so excited for this, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finally had the thing like before before Amy showed up on screen, where I was listening to music like, it sounds kind of like this. Kind of reminding me of an Okami song, and then boom.
Yeah, and then like because they do it right where like you see the landscape, right, and it's painted and all that, and Amaterasu is blurry enough at first that you don't recognize who it is.
Right.
Because she doesn't have the sigil on her back, the flames, anything like that. She's just in her white wolf form. And it just happens all at once as you hear the opening notes, and then you see the symbol on her back, and then you're like, what are they remastering it? Are they doing a remake of it?
Surely like just a remaster, like a fancy remake. There's no way they're doing a sequel. No.
And then it just says Okami sequel.
That's it.
and then directed by Hideki Kamiya.
And that's I think the thing that really took everyone by surprise is like, with all the way it's been going for like for Itsuno leaving and Mikami leaving and all that, like the way of the like big Japanese game industry creative who like cut their teeth in the aughts and tens and is like kind of reaching a new phase of their career and not the industry's collapsing. It's always like they move on to do something smaller and independent and kind of disconnected from their thing. And Hideki Kamiya went, I'm making a new studio with all my friends. It's called Clovers, as in the sequel to Clover. And the first thing we're doing is immediately going back to Capcom.
Right.
It is important to note, by the way, an independent developer. Not actually a Capcom subsidiary, but they are working with Capcom on this first project.
Sure.
But it's still very funny to be like, no, I'm just going back.
It's very...
Inafune's gone. I can come back.
Yeah.
That's... I mean, you said that while we were hanging out the other night. You've never been more right in your entire life, Oats. Like, that is literally why Kamiya is now like, yeah, I'll go back. It's because Inafune left, right? Like,
yeah, no, for real.
Like,
that's got to be it.
He is directly responsible for Clover being disbanded.
Yeah. And so, like, everything bad that happened at Capcom for that handful of years is the direct result of Inafune meddling, right?
Mm-hmm.
That rat bastard, like, is responsible for Capcom's, like, extreme downward spiral for almost a decade.
Yeah. And
now,
and the whole... So, like, I totally believe the reason that Kamiya was finally like, yeah, I'll get the band back together and we'll go work for Capcom on this project is because Inafune wasn't there to fuck with them.
Yeah.
And also, he was like, listening to Inaba trying to tell him to shove some more live service game into shit into a game that wasn't like that. And he's like, you're starting to remind me of Inafune, and you're here, and Inafune isn't at Capcom. So I think I'm just gonna pack up and go.
And Capcom has boatloads of cash because they keep making good decisions instead of bad decisions. So I think I'm gonna go.
Now the thing is, okay. Okami sequel is the correct first move to make.
Yeah.
Right?
They're not making a sequel to God Hand.
The correct second move is Beautiful Joe 3.
Okay, that's more acceptable, yes.
That's more
then
acceptable.
you do God Hand 2.
No.
Now, here's the thing. They're never going to do God Hand 2 as much as I want them to. However, I think Kamiya has gone on record as saying that he would like to make another Beautiful Joe game. And I imagine that, like, if this is successful enough for the company to continue to exist.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They will absolutely go like, oh, you want to make Beautiful Joe 3? Sure, bud, whatever. We're not doing anything with them.
When this game sells an Okamillion units...
And it will.
And it will.
And it will.
They will make Beautiful Joe 3.
Yeah.
We'll finally know what the hell happened to Captain Blue.
What if it's a Taisho era Okami?
Oh...
Please, there's so many things you could do.
Put that dog on a train.
Put that dog on a train.
Put that dog next to a jazz band is all I'm saying, right? Come on.
I just realized, you know what you could do now? Because it would be relevant.
Yeah.
You make Beautiful, like you make a third Beautiful Joe installment, and you just call it Shin Beautiful.
Yeah.
They're gonna do it.
They're gonna do it.
And then what you do is you make a Taisho era God Hand.
I don't know that God Hand isn't Taisho era.
It could be.
It could be anyone.
The thing is I don't want that because that would be stepping on the toes of Sega doing
Project Century.
Well, that's what you do is you make
no, because not just Project Century. So there is also they have the rights to do Fist of the North Star stuff, right? Mm-hmm. There's a prequel series that takes place in 1920s Hong Kong that kicks ass.
Well,
and I would do anything. I would move mountains for them to do a Fist of the Blue Sky video game.
I don't personally give a fuck about that franchise. However, I do think wherever Mikami ends up, he should be forced at gunpoint to make God Hand 2. And if I win the lottery, if I won the lottery, right, and it was one of the big ones, and I walked away with $800 million, absolutely making a game development company, telling Mikami, come work for me, I'll give you all the resources you want, but you have to make a God Hand 2 before anything else.
If I won the lottery, I would give $1 million to Mikami and say, make God Hand 2, and he'd say, this isn't enough, and I'd say, yes, it is.
No, you're correct. That's absolutely correct.
Right.
It is a single A game.
God Hand 2 is out there, and it's a Unity asset store for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God Hand 2 needs to be an A- game.
I know. God Hand 2 is quite literally it, and I mean God Hand, the original one as well. Why is this the third time we've talked about God Hand at the end of the podcast? I'm just realizing that. Hang on.
This started to turn into a theme.
It's you know how, well, I guess you don't know, Ben, you know how the Giga Boys just keep fucking cannot escape the shadow of Jinkaria?
Yeah.
How they covered the Bountark at this point two and a half years ago. And people just they're just every fucking week someone's putting Jinkaria edits in the Podlords. But I feel like God Hand might be one of our that.
The thing is, in this case, I'm justified because Clover is back.
The point I'm trying to make before I have this realization that we can't shut the fuck up about God Hand is that God Hand may be one of the rare true B games.
It is.
It's a B game the way there's a B movie, right?
Well,
and I don't
think
it's Jerry Seinfeld. God
Hand has the video game equivalent of the boom mic dipping into frame with its audio quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are PS1 games that sound better. That fucking that soundbite that we have in the Discord, the My Style is Impetuous one, that is raw game quality. I didn't do anything to that. That's what that sounds like on the PS2.
So I have two things to say. One is that I booted up God Hand just to test it out for God Handuary, which is probably the reason I've been talking about God Hand so much. Is I'm excited for God Handuary.
Yeah, that's true.
He's showing his hand.
See, I'm different. I'm just always thinking about God Hand.
There's always there's probably 1.25% of my brain that's always thinking about God Hand.
God Hand is one of the contenders for being the Science International standard unit of video game.
As the beautiful Joe said, I have to kill the deal with them.
Unfortunately, this is in fact how the gorge breaks up.
God Hand is a standard game. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a standard Kilo game.
I think I can get behind that.
Okay.
But because kilos are European, right?
Well, kilo's just 1,000.
No,
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though. Because it's it's imperial and metric, right? And the Europeans are the ones who use the metric system. Anyways, all of this to say, I actually think the answer is that the kilo game is probably pathologic.
Now, see, I was just making the suggestion that Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is 1,000 times as good as God Hand.
I see. I understand now. I apologize.
One Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is worth 1,000 God Hands. Yeah, I can get behind that.
A common video game made nowadays on these bloated budgets has 15 billion God Hands in it.
Who would win 1,000 suns from or a single God Hand disc? I bring it. Obviously, the suns, they just split it in two. Well, now I have 2 discs. God Hand always wins.
I think I'm dying.
The student asks the master, how do you play God Hand on 2 split half discs? And the master replies, student, how do you play God Hand on 1 complete disc?
I can't see straight. I think I popped an eyeball out of the socket from laughing so hard.
Be sure to pay or give us money on Patreon if you want to support us doing Zen koans about God Hand.
That's just gonna be the entire stream for God Handuary.
Can we make a God Hand version of that one Twitter bot that's like Deep Leffen?
No, I wanted to say that, like, speaking of when I booted up God Hand just to test how things would go, and when I heard the first like audio cue in that game, I nearly fell out of my chair because I forgot it's just that bad.
You know,
it's like so. When I was younger, I would rent Star Fox Assault a lot because I love Star Fox 64 so much.
Mm-hmm.
And Assault had this thing where, like, because most of the dialogue is said, you know, through their R-Wing comms, it's got the radio crackle to it. And you don't notice how bad it is until you get to the rare cutscene where they are out of their ships and talking to each other.
Yeah.
That's just what God Hand sounds like. I love it so much.
Oh my god.
Please, Kamiya, you have the power to make God Hand 2. You should objectively make Okami 2 and Beautiful Joe 3 first. But once those are done, you should make God Hand 2.
I agree. Oh my god.
And that's it.
I think God Hand 2 exists, and it's called No More Heroes 3.
You might be right.
Oh, you might be right.
You might be
No.
right.
Shit.
I believe you might be right.
Damn.
Ben finally needs to
I need
play
to play
it.
No More Heroes 3. I do.
You do. That is an all-timer for video game. That is an all-timer for I can't believe they let Suda spend money on this and not on the rest of the game.
How many God Hands are inside No More Heroes 3?
Oh, that's a...
How many God Hands does it take to screw in the fluorescent light bulb to his stupid sword?
I would say maybe 2 3/4 God Hands are in No More Heroes 3. And for some reason, 2 of those God Hands are spent on getting Akbu to do a cutscene in the video game.
2 Z quarter circles is how many it takes.
Oh my god. Oh,
Neil
fuck.
Druckmann's making other garbage. Anyway, that's the end of our podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Nobody cares. Oh,
Can't believe we're wasting that sword design on a fucking Neil Druckmann game.
it's so tragic. But honestly, now that you know what, no, I'm gonna be bold. I think that the waveform sword is fucking lame. It's way too twee. It's like
Yeah.
It's so fucking Marvel, like it's so MCU that it loops around to just being cringe, right? Like it's too twee. I don't think it's cute at all. If it was in like an indie game, I would think it's sick as fuck, right?
Like if that was a weapon you could get in like Hi-Fi Rush 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I feel like it's one of those things where because it's such a photorealistic game with so much money, and it's so obviously designed to be printed on a t-shirt, it just looks really stupid to me.
Yeah.
It would have been cooler if it was just literally the No More Heroes sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that like the trailer is covered in brand, we're like watching this trailer and we're like, what is up with all those fucking brands?
Yeah.
They had to fucking pay for the game somehow.
Yeah,
Right.
no, the game is like really pathetically covered head to toe in like luxury branding. Like the main girl is like flying a fucking Porsche.
Yeah.
Right? She's wearing Adidas and her shit's all Sony branded. Like no, it's really pathetic. It's not even a little bit cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. At first you watch it, you're like, oh, this is kind of neat. And then as it sinks in that it's a Naughty Dog game by Druckmann, like, it immediately loses all of its veneer of charm and just becomes cringe.
Yeah.
I think that one BlueSky poster was very correct, and they're like, it's very Naughty Dog to be 10 years late to the retro future.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is very, like, striking while the iron is ice cold. Oh, man. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
1.
Yes.
This is
It's so much like, oh, we saw Guardians of the Galaxy and we can do that.
No,
Well,
oh,
yeah, it's the Concord effect, right? Where it's like, this is very obviously given the time. It's like, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and then developed the video game based on how cool Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is.
yeah.
As opposed to Concord, which is, we played Overwatch and then went, we should make Overwatch. And then spent the next 8 years making Overwatch after having played Overwatch.
Right.
Like, it's just very pathetic.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want like a Guardians of the Galaxy game, just go play that Guardians
play
of the
the-
Galaxy
yeah.
game. It's apparently really good. So
It's decent. I'd put it a solid 7.5 out
yeah,
of 10.
absolutely. And that's about what that
We take those.
We take those.
We
If
take
it's,
those
like,
Ws.
Perfectly acceptable, just kind of like Mass Effect adjacent. Fine, that sounds great.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a lot cheaper on Steam than however much Sony is going to try and charge you for Intergalactic. So
All right.
just go play that instead.
All this to say, knowing it's a Naughty Dog Druckmann game makes me feel a lot better about how stupid all the bullshit in it looks, because it's like, oh, good, I don't have to feel bad about thinking it's completely uninteresting.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Looks like nothing. Sorry.
And that was the Game Awards. Statler and Waldorf were hilarious. They were meaner than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah. Very funny to hear Statler and Waldorf say the words Hideo Kojima and Final Fantasy. So
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Uh-huh.
Great experience. Great guest appearance.
What are the Muppets for, if not hitting you out of left field with a pop culture reference that you didn't think they were capable of doing?
That's true. Good point.
Which Muppet do you think we're going to get next year?
Sweetums.
Piggy.
Sweetums would be good.
It's either that or Miss Piggy, because it's like we haven't had a Miss Piggy
We
yet.
have not had Piggy.
But,
We need Piggy
but
flirting with
Sweetums
Jeff
would be-
all night.
but Sweetums would be exceptionally funny because you'd have to have him on stage with Keeley, which means that Keeley would be subjected to slapstick.
That's actually a really
that's
good point.
that's a
too.
really good point.
My suggestion, Jeff, if you're listening, I know you are, if you have Miss Piggy on, you need to have a bit where at some point between cutaways, you have conspicuously been pressured to change into like a green shirt and tie, and with whatever you're wearing instead of whatever you were wearing before that.
I thought you were going to do the thing that they do in the Muppet Show, where he conspicuously has his tie undone. Yeah. Like,
Well, yes, that's how-
progressively more and more between shots, and like his hair is like going in places, and he's got
He's
lipstick
got
on his
kiss
neck.
marks all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that by the end of that show, Jeff, you should look like that one photo of like got home drunk and was way too excited to see my cat.
Yeah, totally.
I think you're totally right. Because we're the list is getting bigger, and like the fame of the Muppet is getting bigger and bigger. We are out of the B-listers here.
We gotta listen, and you can't break the Kermit glass, right?
Right, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't think you should break the Kermit at all,
That's fair.
except to make it to do the extremely funny thing of him still being the head showman. So he is pushing Jeff Keighley out onto the VGAs, going like, "We're live, you have to
Yeah.
go off."
I would also
that'd be
suggest, as a plausible alternative, a show in which Kermit plays Jeff Keighley.
Yes.
He tries to open the show, and then like Jeff comes out from behind, like from backstage, like chained up.
Yeah.
Duct tape over his mouth, like you motherfucker.
He gets the gag out of his mouth, and he said the joke was funnier when it was Jack Black.
Yeah.
I will also suggest, possibly. I know we're thinking about like who could be new, who is there and wasn't there before. I will, however, suggest, put my hat in the ring. Punished Gonzo.
Yeah.
It's just
Give-
Gonzo again, but he looks like he's been through some shit because it's a new one.
Yeah.
And so, like, time has passed.
Yeah.
We need Fozzie to give an award that takes too long to get to the award.
That you're describing the Game Awards normally.
Yes, but if Fozzie was doing it, it would be funny.
So you're saying we need to do the thing with Kratos' voice actor, the VGAs before?
Yes, exactly.
Except like it's deliberate.
Yes, he's deliberately going too long and saying bad jokes the whole time.
I would suggest that Fozzie starts giving an award in the pre-show, and they cut away from him because he's continuing to talk and won't shut up, and they keep cutting back to him during the show, and he's just continuing on some tangent, and they cut away again, only for him to eventually present the award in the middle of the show.
Make the last award of the show technically like best esports player, and Fozzie finally got to give it.
Yeah.
God,
We're doing
that
something
would be
experimental.
funny.
We're going to do Game of the Year before the show is even started.
Oh god. Okay.
All right, I think we're done for
Okay.
now.
This. No, we definitely came in at 3 hours. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this is and that's fine because this is it for 2024.
This is our last episode of 2024.
Yay,
We'll
we're gonna
see
be-
y'all next
Ah.
year.
Is the Gorgies going to be the first thing we come back to?
Yes, it will. Look forward to
Spectacular.
that.
Delightful.
Exciting.
Oh man, it's our last fuck of the year.
Yeah.
May I suggest fuck Alex Kurtzman?
Oh, I gotta get the ending stuff first. So
Oh,
thanks
right.
to
Yeah, that's
thanks to Broke Free. If you recommend music, email us at thegorgepodcast.bsky.social. Follow us on our BlueSkies because we're not on Twitter anymore.
Mhm.
And yeah, look forward to we're gonna play doing some buckshot roulette with drinking game fun soon, and then we're also gonna do takeout, which I'm excited for.
I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll do it for us.
It's not Kurtzman. It's not Kurtzman. You listen to me right now. I've got my camera. I've got my fucking microphone right against my face.
I'm listening.
I have now watched 6.5 seasons of Deep Space. And I know that I have said it before this year, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to find you, Rick Berman. And when I do, you will hope the only thing I do is say fuck Rick Berman on my podcast.
You're gonna hope she kills you.
You'd better hope the Reaper finds you first, Rick Berman.
God help you, Rick Berman, should I ever cross paths with you. That's it.
Good night,
Good night, everyone.
Yay!